Hello, everybody. Welcome. I already see in the chat, of course, Trin and Teme and some lurkers. But as I do at the start of every show, at the top of every show, I've got my GoFundMe for me and my kids up on the screen. As you can see, raised 510 so far. Thank you to everybody who's donated and shared this out so far, and anybody that continues to donate or share this out in the future. Every little bit counts, and every little bit is a great help, and the kids and I are very, very grateful. If you want to find the links, just go to the X app, formerly known as Twitter. Head over to mine or Trin's, or the Rockin' One, as you can see in the chats, X pages or Twitter pages, and it's right at the top of our pages. You hit the link, you read the story, you can donate, or you can share it out from there. But thank you again, everybody, and we will be starting here very, very shortly. We are live. We're alive. Welcome, all you wrestling fans, to the 17th episode of the Pop-Up Powerbomb podcast. I'm your host, the breathtaking one, Spooky, and tonight, wrestling fans, we share our thoughts on some interesting topics, including Sting's final opponent at Revolution 2024. Yes, folks, the great man himself is going to officially hang it up. I know we've seen many a wrestler over the years retire and then unretire and then retire and unretire, but I think in his 60s. I think he is done. I think he knows it's time to leave. He's had an amazing career. We also share our predictions for Crown Jewel that's coming up, I believe, this Saturday. We also dissect AEW and delve into what they need to improve and do differently, plus much, much more. I've got my coffee. I hope you all got yours, or a nice cold beverage and snacks. So is everybody ready for story time with the breathtaking one in the panel, baby? Still waiting on a few of the panel to arrive. We got Dion in the house too. Wanted to invite the great man. He'll be adding his 2 cents if he feels like he's going to add his 2 cents. He's in the middle of playing NBA 2K, I believe. But it's still great to have him on. Always appreciate it, brother. Always love talking games and wrestling with this man. Pineapple Paul should be running along shortly, because I have technically started just a few minutes early. So we've got to wait for the pineapple one, and we may have some other guests jumping in, possibly, if they've got the time, if they're not busy. But without further ado, let's give a shout out to the chat. Already see the rockin' one, Trinity Warrior, my lovely girl in the chat already, each and every week, 2 times a week so far, and going to be 3 times a week soon, as me, Ryan, and Chuck are discussing and hashing out a 3rd podcast that'll be based around a variety of things, from sports to politics to social events, what's happening around the world, whether that's something to do with the economy or something to do with the wars going on, etc., etc. Basically a news program podcast talking about a bunch of things. So looking forward to hashing that out and getting that up and running. Thanks to the resident Gamer Zero, aka Ryan, for coming up with the idea, even though I've been thinking about it myself for a little bit, just something different. And of course, shout out to the man from across the pond, Timmer. Always good to see you, brother. And back from the dead is up in here as well. The graphic guy. All hail Jay. All hail Jay. Always great to see you, my brother. All the way up from Canada there. It's great to see everybody here. I think the cerebral one. He's the man of many nicknames, actually. The cerebral one, the speed demon, or as PK would like to refer to him as, the pineapple Paul. He is in the building. He's in the building.
And one of these weeks, you're not going to wait till the last second to send me a link. I mean,
I sent it. No, well, I actually sent it through. I was going boom, 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 boom. I sent it through to about 5 people. Whether or not we end up with the other few people on here is another thing. But I thought, hey, if we get some fresh faces, we got Dion here. He said he'll talk when he feels like talking.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. He's playing a bit of NBA 2K as well, but look, it's just great to have him here anyway.
Yep.
How you been?
You know me, I've got Ron on the other screen, so you know.
Multitasking, and it's fun.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But how you been, brother?
I'm surviving.
Surviving. That's the way. That's the way.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of wrestling going on lately, and of course we got the upcoming Crown Jewel this weekend, which looks like it's building to be a nice pay-per-view over in Saudi Arabia. Early start for everybody, of course. I do believe.
Yeah, 1 p.m. for me, which is going to be really early for usually.
Yeah. It'd be about, I think.
I may bounce for half a second. I got to do something real quick. Hang on.
No, you're right. You're right. You go do what you got to do quickly.
Nope, there we go. Now I have a picture, see? So I had to sign in. So
nice. But let's get on to the first topic, shall we? And as I said, Dion, you just jump in whenever you feel like jumping in, brother. You might feel like jumping in on this first topic. Speculating on the great Sting's final opponent at Revolution 2024. He started at Revolution with AEW. He's going, I think, back in 2020, I believe. He is going to end his career at Revolution 2024, and I do believe in his case this will be the final hurrah. You know, he's not like a Hogan or a Flair that wants to try and keep going. I think he knows he's not the same wrestler he once was, and he's slowing down. I also believe he's a different caliber of fish as well. He understands he's had a legendary career, really has. You know, this is a guy that started as we all remember, well, a lot of us remember, as Surfer Sting with the beach blonde short hair. And Ric Flair made him. That match back in, I believe, it was 1988 or 89 at Clash of Champions, which went up against a WrestleMania at the time. Put Sting on the map. You know, he said it best in his speech this past last week, where going 55 minutes in a match, even back then and today, is not an easy feat to do.
No.
And him and Flair tore down the house. Touching on Ric Flair, of course, for those that don't know, Ric Flair made his AEW debut last week. It was Tony Khan's special gift to Sting. What a gift it was, really. As I said, these two's careers have been intertwined since the late 80s. You know, they it was a long time opponent of Sting. They feuded a lot. Of course, Sting was in the Horsemen originally. Then they started feuding with the Horsemen when he broke away from it. So they had a great back and forth. And as I said, Ric Flair helped put Sting on the map and help him become the icon that he is today. You know, they had some wonderful feuds. And Ric's going to be there with Sting, riding this till the wheels fall off at Revolution. So that's amazing to see. But what the topic of discussion is we've got some names to look at of who we think or who we would like to see as his final opponent. Now, I'll start it off. One that makes a lot of sense to me, straight off the bat, would be Darby Allin, his protege. A bit of a baton passing, you know, torch passing. I think the story can play into that, because you don't always need a heel versus a face. And
Right.
I think this babyface versus babyface could work with those two in a final match, a final hurrah. Darby would definitely bring it to him, and you know, I think Sting would just give everything his body could give in that final match. He would put it all out there. I think you'd probably see him doing something crazy, jumping off something as well. You know, at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of what Edge just did recently, where they were just friends and they wanted to have a match together, so they did a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't face versus
heel, no.
Versus heel. It was just two guys that wanted to have a match together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's another name. There's another name that's circulating too. Edge as a final opponent. That could be an interesting matchup.
I could see that, because with Edge coming back in, I could definitely see them doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Sting's still moving around pretty well for a guy in his middle 60s. You know, I like to think that too. One, because he's kept himself in very good shape, but two, he's never really had any major injuries. You know, that time he spent almost 2 years out of the ring, that was all for storyline purpose. It was nothing to do with injuries.
Right.
That's where he left as the coloured face paint Sting and disappeared for a bit, and then all of a sudden, for about a year and a half, he was up in the rafters grew his hair out and went the crow route. But yeah, man, like there is some names on the card that really could have a good match with him. Who would you like to see on the AEW roster? Yourself, Paul?
Well, for that match, I of those that you mentioned, I would prefer to see him go against Edge, because that plays back to the older days as well. That kind of plays back to, you know, what once was, and now it's coming to an end type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and the other passing the torch thing could work too, but I personally, as an older wrestler fan, I wouldn't get as much behind that as I would behind watching Edge and Sting go at it one time, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
I know for me, personally, if it could happen, I know it's not going to happen, but if I could get it happen, since Ric Flair's in AEW now and WWE is owned by TKO Media now, I wouldn't mind if Tony Khan spends the money and give us Undertaker Sting.
Yo, that would
I
be
wouldn't
dope.
mind it. Like, this one, this. I know
Yeah.
they're not what they used to be, but just the end of the career, the Taker Sting. Oh my God, I would love that.
No, you're not wrong.
Well, I had that same thought, but I didn't because I figured it's not going to happen. Yeah.
No, well,
But,
I mean,
Taker was just in the ring like 2 weeks ago. Not wrestling, just standing there looking menacing.
Yeah, exactly. And look, that's been a dream match for fans for years. Like, when they were both at the top of their game, Undertaker was the phenom of WWF at the time. Sting was the man, the icon of WCW. Like, fans wanted to see them go back then. Fans were screaming for Bischoff and Vince to do a cross-promotional pay-per-view just so it could happen. Then when Sting came to WWE, everybody has just automatically assumed that he was coming there because they were going to build, and apparently there was plans in place that they were going to build up to a Taker-Sting match. I don't exactly know because I'm not behind closed doors of what happened or the breakdown as to why it didn't happen. Maybe Vince, just didn't want it to happen, but... he can be a bit funny like that, but it would be phenomenal. The only issue is Taker could come in, but I don't know if he'd be able to use the Undertaker moniker because I do believe WWE has got the rights to the name. So
yeah, but not like nobody would know who the big tall guy in the ring was.
No, he would have to come into his WCW name when he
and remember, WWE can't really say nothing. It's really up to UFC TKO. So if Tony Khan got the money,
yeah.
this is not like I'd be honest with you. If it was before the buyout, I would be like, this would never happen. But with UFC owning it now, I mean, money talks. They could be like, "Hey, go ahead."
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, not wrong. And they could allow him to use Taker. Well, I'd prefer him to come in as Taker than have to come in and use his WCW name. I mean, I remember him in WCW as Mean Mark Callis, but there is a lot of people that don't remember him as Mean Mark Callis. And that was before he crossed over. He only had a short stint, and then WCW didn't sign him. He tried asking for more money. WCW didn't give it to him or sign him. And, of course, as we know, he went over and had a illustrious career as The Undertaker in the WWF/WWE. So you're not wrong.
Now, can he still wrestle? Because when I remember when I saw him in the ring, he's not exactly in top-notch shape.
I don't know, but that was one of the best choke slams I've seen him do or anybody do in a long time. Granted, I know Bron Breakker helped with that because he jumped for him, obviously, but damn, that was a heck of a choke slam. Look, if Tony can swindle that, if he can swing it, like, do it. Like, that would be put that way. That would be the ultimate way for Sting to go. That would be, and it would feed the appetite of wrestling fans that have wanted those two in a match. I'm with you, Paul. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. But look, Tony Khan. Look, if you're listening, Tony, or if anybody's out there that's listening that can get to Tony Khan, man loves spending money on licensed music. And big money at that. The amount of money he paid for Daniel Bryan to use the Final Countdown. Wow, that is an exorbitant amount of money. So, go over, talk to UFC, talk to Endeavor, see if you can get it.
Well, it'd be funny though if they just used a gong sound. It's like you can't copyright a gong sound, dude.
No, you
gong.
can't.
Okay, that's it.
No.
That's it.
And Taker's really okay, so he's got the same thing as how Edge is very close friends with Alter Bridge, right, through his theme song. So Taker, he's actually quite close with Kid Rock. So he could easily come down as Biker Taker and do the whole American Badass song with him as well.
I don't want to see Kid Rock on my TV.
No.
I don't want to see American Badass. I hated that gimmick. Oh my god, I hated that so much.
I know.
I hated that so
people
much.
Either loved
I love
it or
Taker, but
yeah, people either loved it or they hated it. I actually preferred. It was a couple of iterations on because he came as American Badass, obviously had the Kid Rock song. Then he still was Biker Taker, but then he moved over to Limp Bizkit's Rollin'. Then there was a time after that and before he went back to the Dead Men where he was known as Big Red, and he had like the devil on his on his shirts and his singlets and stuff like that. And he kind of played a real cocky heel. I actually didn't mind that that version of Taker because he was still.
No, I would love to see. But you mentioned I would love to see him coming out to rolling because the crowd would go fucking nuts, dude.
Oh yeah, it would go crazy. It would go crazy. I mean, granted, it would go crazy just hearing a damn dong. The lights go out and you do bong. And so, it would be, look, that would be the ultimate, I think we're all in agreement here, that would be the ultimate final opponent.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just going to remain, I personally think it'll remain a dream and all that.
So when is this match supposed to take place?
His last match will be at Revolution 2024, which I think's around March.
Okay, so we're talking like 6 months out, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he debuted for AEW. That's where he's going to finish and wrap it up. I actually still hope that they keep him in like a backstage role, though, just with his wealth of knowledge. I don't think like as a rider or anything, but like as a, road worker, backstage, where people can come up and talk to him and he can train and stuff like that. He's got a wealth of knowledge, so... but look, if we're just going off the AEW roster, you got Darby Allin there, you got Edge. If you wanted to pit him up against a heel, Christian. Christian is one of the best heels going in the business right now. One of the most hated heels in the business, that's for sure. Especially with this whole daddy thing that he's got going on.
Yeah.
Daddy!
Yeah.
I'm not their leader, I'm their daddy. But yeah.
Yeah, the mommy and daddy thing going on in both promotions is just weird to me.
It is. But Christian's playing into it so damn well, and like when he used his own kid in the backstage, I thought that was so funny. Like, get her out of here, take her out of here, escort her out of the building, because she tried to take his belt.
I gotta say, Christian is definitely someone that has reinvented himself after leaving WWE.
Oh yeah.
Because he really from TNA to now AEW, he has really kept up. I have nothing but respect for Christian. I really do enjoy him a lot. He has definitely adapted and just ran with it.
Put it this way, he did the same thing as Cody, right? He wasn't really being given that chance to shine or have any sort of creative over his character when they split him and Edge in WWE, and so he left. And he became a bigger, better single star by going out on his own, going the indie route, going to, like you mentioned, TNA, creating Christian Cage, and look, like Cody took that same route. He wasn't going nowhere. They were having him dress up similar to his brother and playing Stardust, and he hated it, and then he went out and hit the indies, hit New Japan, and created...
You know what? I saw a clip the other day. I saw a clip the other day with him as Stardust, and they were signing some kid that must have been like from Make-A-Wish or something.
Yeah.
And even you could see hints of what would become Cody Rhodes even underneath all that makeup and the way he carried himself and the way he presented himself.
But no,
so I do like the fact that even in the thing they made clear that he didn't like it toward the end, but he put it all into it.
He did.
So,
he did because at the end of the day, he doesn't believe in half-assing stuff. Whether he's put in a situation, he didn't even, like, about halfway through Legacy, he started not really liking how that storyline was going and didn't feel like he was fully utilised, and there was a lot of situation. That's why, as again, it was the best thing for him to leave.
Yep.
And he became
Absolutely.
a megastar by leaving. But no.
Oh my God! They have Fat Boy doing the caterpillar.
Oh shit.
Oh dear God.
But,
Sorry, I got distracted by watching Bronson Reed swiggle on the ring.
Honestly, like another iconic match I would love to see. It's not going to happen, obviously. If the man was a bit younger and didn't have the health issues he did, I would love to see Flair be his final opponent. It would just...
Yeah.
It would be a full circle moment.
You know what? I would do Flair's thing now, but it has to be a cinematic one.
Yeah. Well,
I would do that. I wouldn't do a real, well, I won't say real, but I won't do a regular match. If it has to be Flair, it has to be cinematic.
yeah.
Because Flair almost died with that last match against
Jay Lethal.
was it Jay Lethal? No, it wasn't against
No, it was against Jay Lethal. That was his final match. They had a big sort of like...
Oh, that was Jay Lethal. Yeah, that was scary.
It was.
He literally died twice.
Yeah.
Like literally. Like
yeah.
Yeah. He's used to dying.
Yeah.
He's used to dying because he almost died in that plane crash back in the day. That really should have taken
that
him
is
down.
true. Yeah, Flair's. Yeah, he's
like a cat.
Yeah.
He's like a cat, bro. He's got 9 lives.
Well, I was thinking what they could do in that case was, even if they wanted to bring Taker in, they could do make it a tag team match, but featuring the 2 old guys going at it a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they've done those kind of mixed matches before, where you have 2 of the older, more able-bodied people that do their thing.
Because this last match, doesn't necessarily mean it'll be a singles. I mean, I'd prefer it to be a singles match for Sting, but it could very much be a tag team match.
Right.
You know, and then you got to start thinking of tag teams that him and Darby, because obviously it'd be him and Darby.
Yeah. Because that could allow you to bring in somebody like. Because that would allow you to bring in somebody like Flair, who wouldn't have to necessarily work that hard, you know.
No.
You know, because we've all seen those kind of tag matches where one guy carries the whole match.
It wouldn't work right now because obviously he's playing that tweener, borderlining on babyface. But God, I would love to see Flair manage MJF if MJF ever goes back to full blown heel. It would be a match made.
Oh my God! Yeah, that would be. Wow.
It would be a match made in heaven, bro. Yeah, it would. It really would. But, I mean, he's too over at the moment and turning back heel right now, and I think they'll give him a decent run as this. As I said, he's not full, I wouldn't say he's full-blown babyface because he's still doing kind of heelish tactics like he did on Collision, where he tried to steal the title that he ran through the crowd cowardly. I mean, granted, the numbers game was not on his side, but... that was still very sort of heelish and he still does sort of heelish tactics, but he's sort of like that Stone Cold sort of situation where Stone Cold was technically at backstage he was viewed as a babyface, but he was really on screen he was more of a tweener, and fans just lapped it up. I
love tweeners because they can do a little bit of both.
Yeah,
it's not so black and white. He's the good guy. He's the bad guy.
Exactly. And I don't think, because they haven't changed his character at all, I don't think you could ever really turn Max full-blown babyface. I just don't think. I think the whole doing the Austin thing with him, where he's sort of borderlining on both, I think really works. So if he's not a full-blown heel, he's got to be a tweener like Stone Cold was, where he can still do heelish things, and the fans are gonna,
And I know I'm gonna prattle on this again, but I'm gonna bring it up. I would even view Cody at this point as a tweener because, to me, a baby face would never run up and blindside somebody. And Cody's done that a few times over the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's getting a bit more aggressive in nature.
Yeah.
Like when he first came back, I'd definitely say, he was definitely the baby face, these big smiles.
But now I think they crossed a point where he's like, I'm not taking no shit, and if that means I've got to blindside your ass.
Why not? People do it to him, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, that's not a strictly pulls him kind of out of the strictly babyface mode where he's always getting attacked. Well, now he's doing the attacking.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing that with more and more of them actually.
One other match I would love to see, and I think really it would tick a box for both guys, because this other guy I'm about to mention, he's going to stop wrestling full time as of sometime in 2024. Him against Bryan Danielson, Sting against Bryan Danielson would be an interesting matchup as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
I know Bryan would have to carry him a little bit, obviously, but it would tick a box. We've never seen them verse each other. I know Bryan Danielson, like a lot of wrestlers, Sting was an idol of his and he looked up to him. So it would tick a box for him as well. Because Bryan, he's versed pretty much everyone that you can sort of think of, except for Sting. So he'd be another name. And he would take care of Sting, is the other thing too. He'd look after him during their match. So he would be another good opponent there. So, I mean, we've racked off a few there. It'll be interesting to see which route they go, whether they do have a singles match, whether they do have a tag match. Again, I'd probably prefer to see him do a singles match on his way out.
Yeah. And they have 6 months to build up a story,
exactly.
which
Exactly.
hopefully they'll build up a story.
I'm a little worried about Bryan Danielson because he's already out with the eye surgery and he might miss. He's gonna miss all of 2020, but the remaining of 2023, and they're saying that he might miss New Japan's pay-per-view in 2024 for January.
Which will suck, yeah.
So, and I know Revolution's not until March, but
it'll be close.
I think I'd rather him just not go against Sting and just let him be healthy and just let him wrestle other people because it seems like he has such bad luck. I love him. He is one of my favorite wrestlers, but he has such bad luck. Like, I don't understand why he has such bad luck. And I'd rather him be healthy for other programs with other wrestlers than, God forbid, he gets hurt in the Sting match and he might have to retire early. And nothing on Sting or him, but, since he has such bad luck, it seems like he could get hurt just running the ropes,
Yeah, he has lately, the last 2 years especially, like, his luck with injuries has just not been there, unfortunately. He's a bit injury prone, for whatever may be the reason, whether it's a fault of his own or a fault on the opponent. But, I know since coming to AEW they are wrestling a lot stiffer, rougher style. So it's obviously bound to happen. I mean, there's only one guy in the whole of AEW I can think of that's body can put up with the AEW style of punishment, and that's Moxley. Moxley, you can put him through a barbed wire table, smash him through glass, and he'll still get up and walk and wrestle the next day.
Yeah, Moxley wanted to freaking come back after the concussion recently, and they had to tell him no.
Yeah, they had to literally tell him no.
Yeah, Moxley, he's old school. Even though he's young, he's definitely. I call him my all Japan old school Stan Hansen, Masawa, Kawada. He doesn't. He's like, I'm good. Let's go. Let's finish this.
Exactly. And what other guy I suppose I could think of for Sting? Maybe Jericho. Jericho might work with him. Could be.
I wouldn't mind Jericho.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. Look, I'm a big AEW fan. I love AEW because it's a Sting, and I follow not his whole career because I was born in '85, but I watched his old stuff, and I just want someone from his WCW days that can still wrestle. And I know that's really hard because unfortunately a lot of wrestlers have passed away and stuff, or they can't wrestle.
Now that you brought that up,
I
said, now that you actually brought that up, a name's just popped in my head.
Who?
Diamond Dallas Page.
Yes.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
He does yoga, man.
DDP can still go. He can still go.
Yeah.
You know who else I wouldn't mind? Keiji Muto.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that would be really good.
They're very close friends, and not only have they tag team well together, they've also had some great feuds. That would be a really, really good match, actually, between those two. The Japanese legend, But yeah, there's another two names they could easily bring in. I mean, they'd be both freed up to do it. I mean, they'd be both freed up to do it. I mean, Muto's got no contract now with New Japan and that. DDP's got no, ties or contract to anybody. So they both.
I was going to say, has DDP been, has Diamond Dallas Page been doing anything? I mean, is he in shape?
Yeah, he does.
Oh yeah, he does his yoga.
DDP yoga.
He is.
Oh,
he looks great.
He's the guy.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in years, so I don't know.
Well, he's the guy that saved Jake the Snake's life.
Oh,
yeah. And Scott Hall before he got Scott Hall back on track.
Yeah.
He's currently getting Buff Bagwell back on track.
Yeah. There's a name we haven't heard for a while. Buff Bagwell.
Yeah. DDP
I've always been a fan of DDP. I always liked him as a wrestler. I thought his career ended much earlier than it should have. But
here's the thing, he started late. He actually debuted at the age of 35. Before he debuted as a wrestler at 35, he was just a manager.
Right.
He just managed teams.
Yeah, he started off really, really late.
Yeah,
that's why I hated WWF for what they did to the WCW guys during that whole stupid ass invasion angle, because they made DDP like a joke, and
they made him cut his hair. They turned him into Undertaker's wife at the time, Stalker, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. This is really ridiculous. And then after that, they had him as a comedic gimmick where he was coming out and he smiled, like real fake fucking smile and shit. I'm like, what the hell are they doing with this?
But see, they did that on purpose. Vince, look, I give Vince respect for what he has done for wrestling, but he really is an asshole. And he made sure to kill off WCW when he did. He made sure to kill off my favorite company, ECW. Yeah. It's like he is the devil incarnated.
Well, the only reason, if you remember, the reason why ECW was still afloat there for a while before he fully absorbed them, he was actually financing ECW.
I know, please. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
I know, bro. I know.
I don't want to hear that. No, stop cursing at me. No, we're not talking about that. No, change the subject. I'm going back to 2K.
No, look, I'm right there with you too, bro. Because ECW was just that alternative, and it was something different. I mean, you had Raven, you had the Sandman, you had Sabu, you had Rob Van Dam, you had Rhino, the Dudleys, you had freaking crazy New Jack jumping off the freaking rafters and shit. Steve Corino, like, man, Eddie Guerrero had some awesome matches in ECW.
A lot of those guys became, WCW took a lot of the ECW guys because of how well, like you said, Eddie. Dean Malenko. I know this name I'm about to say is controversial because of what happened, but Chris Benoit. Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for ECW, we wouldn't have Austin. No. Paul Heyman let Austin become Austin before WWF took it. Yeah. So it's like, ECW doesn't get enough respect, and I hate that because everyone wants to copy them, even to this day, but no one gives them the respect because they were too raunchy or. They call it garbage wrestling.
I thought in the end, when WCW started going downhill, ECW was the better product out of the two, even though they were on the smaller scale. And I would have loved to seen, I don't know how he would have pulled it off, but I would have loved to see Heyman go somewhere to get the finances to stop Vince from pumping it and ECW stayed afloat. I mean, could you imagine a world if ECW was at least still around today? It
would be awesome.
It would be amazing.
Heyman, he if he would have listened to Todd Gordon, they would have had the money. But he wanted to go straight after Vince, and he didn't have the money. And then of course TNN screwed them because they signed WWF to the contract at the same time as ECW, and promised ECW they were going to be the only wrestling company, and they lied. Yeah. And so they signed WWE like within a week, and it stopped promoting ECW. I mean, it could have been very different. I don't know if you guys read that Todd Gordon book, but he just came out with a autobiography about ECW, and I really want to get that because he's been quiet for a long time, and he finally said he wants to talk about everything. And I want to know what was going on.
Yeah, bro. No, I think that'll be a really, really good read too. I really do. Because, like you said, they had probably a few chances, to keep it afloat and move away from what Paul was doing, and like you said, Paul being stubborn just didn't want to listen at the time. So yeah, I mean.
By the way, if you're late to the show, when he says Paul, he's not about me, okay?
It's all your fault, Paul. No. But no. Look, moving on to the next topic of the evening.
Actually, I was going to say a good feed into this because we're talking about the smaller. Is let's talk about the TNT or TNA, because wasn't that one of our topics?
Yeah, we can.
So this is a good time to bring that in.
So TNA is back, folks. As of 2024, the start of 2024, they're reverting back to the TNA name. Yes, folks, tits and ass, as people we're calling them.
That's right.
But no, look.
With good reason.
Internally, they've.
Oh my God! Yes. Have you seen them? Oh, fuck. No.
No, but look, internally they'd still be calling themselves TNA. Internationally, they were still getting called TNA. The fans continuously at the events and at Impact would chant TNA. Impact Wrestling just it doesn't have that name recognition. I think TNA is better for them. Besides the point, and it's about, all I'm going to say is about damn time Anthem came to the party. Anthem has a lot of money. I mean a lot of money. And I've been sitting here going, why oh why haven't you been booking bigger venues? Why oh why haven't you been upping the production when you've got all that money there to do so and turn TNA back into what it once was? Well, they are finally doing it. As of 2024, you are going to see bigger venues for TNA. You are going to see better and bigger production from TNA. TNA is rising out of the ashes, and all I can say is AEW and Tony Khan, you better watch your ass, because they're coming.
And let me just say that I want a finder's fee, because 2 weeks ago, somebody on the show said this is exactly what they need to do to rescue their brand.
Yeah, you did. Exactly. And look, this was lovely to see. Look, they have got a nice little talent pool over there. There's rumors I know there's plenty of rumors that WWE's chasing Will Ospreay, but Will Ospreay has a very, very strong love for TNA, and he's enjoyed every time he's gone to wrestle there. He was the one who came out and said in an interview he'd love to sign for them if they were known back as TNA. I'm wondering if this is playing into that a little bit as well, because if they can sign Will Ospreay, who's still in his 20s, I believe, I think mid to late 20s, that would be a huge, huge get for them. And look, I think with the TNA name, rebranding back to that, you've got a lot of TNA originals that help kickstart that company, from the president over there, Scott D'Amore, because he started back with them when he was managing Team Canada. You've got Eric Young there, the Motor Machine Guns. You've got Frankie Kazarian. You've got a lot of guys over there that help get that company off the ground. And look, I've said for the longest time, whilst they've been very independent run, like because of the smaller venues and stuff like that, the one area that I think, and I still do, that they completely run circles around AEW is storytelling. They have better writers in TNA. The storylines are better in TNA. And look, I think as of 2024, as I said, maybe this might make Tony finally light a fire under Tony's ass to hire some writers, because if he doesn't, right, and we're going to touch on that soon as well, if he doesn't, and you continue to have your dream matches that you propose in your own head with no build-up whatsoever, TNA is going to eat you alive, and TNA is going to take your spot. Because it's run better. And now that Anthem seems to be backing it finally, you're going to have 3 big promotions here in the States. And as I said, TNA has a really good chance to take back. They were once, at one point in time, the second biggest promotion in America behind WWE. Now, no one's going to overtake WWE. We know this. But I think TNA is going to give themselves a real shot here at sending AEW backwards. And if that happens, you watch some of the big talent from AEW either move across to TNA or they'll move over to WWE. Now, they've already lost Cody. They already lost Jade Cargill.
Well, okay. So I agree with you, Spooky. TNA, look, I'm going to be honest. TNA is good, but I think TNA needs a TV deal. No one has Anthem. And if they stay on Anthem, they're not gonna be able to be big. Because I know for me in New York, I had to, get Anthem as a separate TV package just to get it so I could watch TNA and New Japan. So not a lot of people are gonna want to do that for
you know what?
TNA.
I was going to say, what kind of works for them though, right? So next year,
what?
I think it's next year. WWE SmackDown will no longer be on Fox, right? Give Fox a call.
Yes, I forgot about that. They're moving the US. Oh, so you think TNA can sign with Fox? Now that would be. Now I'll be honest with you. If they do that, whoa.
Well, it part of that will depend on how far Fox wants to go down the rabbit hole. One of the reasons TNA worked good in its heyday when it first came to be was it was tits and ass, and now they all kind of do that. Now TNA brought that, and then now WWE, WWF, all of a sudden they had the rated X, the rated R superstar, and
to be on a channel like that because they were doing well when they were on Spike. When they were on Spike TV, they were doing really well.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, will Fox do that on a Friday night? I don't know.
No, I don't know. But I mean, all they can do is ask. Like they've got to go around to these networks and talk to them. Look, I'd be starting with Fox. Fox wanted to keep WWE on there, but they just weren't willing to pay what WWE wanted them to pay.
Well, even now, is it on Fox Straight or is it on Fox Sports? Fox Sports channel.
It goes in between. Like I think the last SmackDown was on Fox Sports 1 for whatever reason.
And I think the Halloween Havoc is being dealt with on Fox Sports, not on Fox proper.
Right.
I believe.
Once that it contracts up, that'd be the first network I'd be talking to. There's a few networks there. Big networks that they could go to that neither, USA's obviously out because that'll be the home of WWE. TNT and TBS are out because that's the home of AEW. But that still leaves a wealth of networks there to get exposure. But I'd be starting. And
NBC's probably out because Peacock, and they cover all of WWE.
Yeah. But as I said, that's why if I was them, I'd start with Fox and work my way around from there. But going back to the TNA name, which is more known, and getting bigger venues and going bigger and better on production again, that's going to benefit them and help just to kickstart things. And like you said, Dion, it'll all come down to getting that network exposure, which I think they're looking into that right now. They are in discussions. So I know they're in big discussions with Sky over in the UK, which is big over in the UK, so that'll help them on an international level. I know they're talking to some big networks in Japan to get access over there as well. So they're doing their due diligence, put it that way. And look,
you have mentioned it, but two other options they have if they can't get a straight up network, they can Amazon or Hulu. Both of whom.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about those streaming places. Yeah, I'm not used to that.
Man, I mean, they could even go over to Netflix even. Like, that could be another proposition. I won't say Disney, because Disney kind of does things with WWE.
And I don't think Disney would want tits and ass on there.
No, but look, there's a few options there that would get them the exposure that they need. And I'm wishing them all the best, but I think they'll be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I actually think they will overtake. It may take a little while. I'm not saying it'll be next year because next year's the start of their resurgence. But I believe by maybe the end of 2025, we may have a new number 2 player in the game again. And it's not going to be AEW because Tony Khan gets in his way too much. And we'll move on. Actually, this moves into the next topic, which is things AEW need to improve or do differently, right? We've been talking about the longest time writing. Storylines is very, very weak over there, right? The only decent storyline, well, I'll say 2 now. The only 2 decent storylines that they got going right now is the whole MJF storyline and the Christian and Edge storyline. Adam Copeland storyline, right? But, for example, what the hell is he doing with the women's division? That's another area. That's just completely all over the shop. Not good enough. One match, sometimes no match. Like, you've got probably one of the best talented women's pools of wrestlers over there, and he's not utilising them at all. And as I said, it's just all over the shop. Another thing, right? And I'll read this article. It comes from Wrestling Inc. They make a lot of great points right here. And this is a very WCW stupid move, which we're about to get into here. Tony Khan wasted one of AEW's biggest dream matches in MJF versus Kenny Omega that happened at Collision, right? So as we know, Tony loves his dream matches. In fact, one might argue that it's something, as the owner of his own wrestling promotion, he lives for. He has the capacity, if the money's right, to put together any sort of wrestling match his heart desires as he fantasy books with real live wrestlers, making the impossible possible. He's like the Willy Wonka of pro wrestling, trying to bring joy and happiness to hardcore wrestling fans with the creative concoctions he can piece together in the ring. But one thing Tony keeps forgetting with the way AEW presents its wrestling product is that the actual wrestling in pro wrestling is often the least important element. Sure, for some, what takes place inside the ring is the be-all, end-all of their wrestling experience. However, it's the emotional investment that fans are able to put into wrestling that really moves the needle. That's what drives ratings, what moves tickets, what sells merch. People need to have a reason to care about who's squaring off in the ring and why for it to really mean something. Otherwise, you end up with opponents just going through the motions, executing moves, and yes, there's a winner and loser, but does it actually matter? Wrestling is a business. And the model of any such business is to figure out a way to make the most money possible with the resources on hand. And that's why it's so confusing that AEW would take one of the biggest potential programs it could ever have, hotshot the most basic of angles for it, and just stick it in the main event of some random October episode of AEW Collision with no build whatsoever, rather than properly setting up as a marquee matchup for a major pay-per-view down the line. Right, so last Wednesday, as we remember, on Dynamite, after MJF dealt with about 12 other narrative threads he's currently trying to navigate, he was met face-to-face by Omega. The cleaner threw down the gauntlet for the reigning champ, challenging him to a title match before the day MJF surpassed Omega's standing record as the longest ever world champ, AEW world champ. MJF was days away from breaking the mark, and Omega wanted a chance to stop it from happening. Pretty basic stuff, but it's workable, except for one question. Does Khan not understand how monumental a match between Omega and MJF for the world title actually is? We're talking about easily one of the biggest stars AEW currently has, crossing paths with one of the company's original central building blocks, and you think it's in your best interest to schedule that match on 3 days' notice. Kenny Omega versus MJF for the AEW World Championship is an instant main event classic for any pay-per-view that AEW has to offer without question. And with AEW still operating on the archaic pay-per-view model to drive revenue, it's a type of needle-moving dream match you'd think Khan would weaponize to get fans to part with their $50 en masse, once again building momentum. That is, until it just gets thrown together for Collision. So, this is always the problem with dream matches. The focus winds up being the match itself, with very little else getting the proper attention. It's the very fact that those select opponents will finally be sharing a ring with one another that matters, and everything else be damned. As a result, even with the actual bout on Saturday being as excellent as it was, and by God, it was a phenomenal wrestling match, what greater purpose did it really serve, though? Saturday was the first time ever MJF and Omega have wrestled each other. That'll never happen again, and the freshness of such an encounter is now lost forever. MJF is in the midst of programs with Adam Cole, Roderick Strong and the Kingdom, Samoa Joe, The Acclaimed, and Bullet Club Gold. A random match with Kenny Omega now just gets lost in the shuffle of all the other important and more established angles taking proper priority. MJF of course, beat back Omega's challenge and is set to become the new record holder. Cool. Now imagine how much more interesting the storyline between the two could have been with some long-term planning applied, with a game plan in place, and with more than 3 days' notice. Think about the promos and the setup. Consider the emotional investment you would have had to make choosing sides between two beloved AEW cornerstones. Isn't that when wrestling hits the sweet spot of being awesome? Why does Tony Khan have such difficulty grasping this concept? Right? Tony Khan, good matchmaker, bad booker. Tony Khan is a tremendous matchmaker, but he's not a very good storyteller, and this MJF vs Omega bout was a blown opportunity for AEW to do something very, very special. You can't be in such a rush to pull off your biggest matches with your biggest stars, not if you're hoping to build your wrestling company for more than just the cheapest of pops. You're sacrificing long-term gains for the shortest of benefits, and that's hardly a recipe for success, a la CWCW from back in the day. Wrestling booking requires time and patience to really make things work, and Tony Khan seems to have no interest in using either to his benefit or advantage. That's how we wind up with a match that should have been one for the ages in the AEW history books, lightly being forgotten in about 3 weeks' time, because as cool as it might have looked on paper, it didn't really matter at all. There are only so many surefire, bona fide headlining matches that exist in wrestling today. Only so many bouts that people would absolutely lose their minds to see. One of them happened this Saturday, and it was just completely wasted. Khan should re-examine his approach sooner rather than later, because if he keeps it up, there won't be any dream matches left, because there won't be a company to survive. What's your thoughts just on that, guys?
Okay,
no, I agree with that.
Oh, no, go on, Paul. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, see, to me, he's at one end of it with the no storyline. You know, he wants that quick return, and to me, a lot of times WWE is on the other end of it, where they drag out the storyline for so damn long, and you're just one that, you know. So yeah, but yeah, he needs to get some. He needs to say, okay, guys, this is what I wanted. This is where I want this is my dream match. How do we get from here to here? And let's say we have 2 months to do it before the next pay-per-view. Yeah. Okay, they can work with that. Yeah. You know?
I mean, you've said for the longest time too, and I'll quote you, you've always said that Tony's a good matchmaker. He put a card together, but a booker, he is not. He can't.
Yeah, he's great at putting a card together. He is absolutely great.
Yeah.
You know, a few weeks ago, that Wednesday night card was it was fire. It was pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
And so I agree with this Wrestling Inc. Article. I mean, there was a blown and wasted opportunity there with Omega and MJF. That should have been a longer build, right? That there could have been an interesting story to tell there. It was their first time wrestling. I mean, those two going at it is a main event waiting to happen on any pay-per-view these days. You know.
Yep.
And he blew it. You know what? It reminded me, and this will take you back, Paul, and probably you too, Dion. It reminded me when WCW effed up majorly and wasted an opportunity when they had Goldberg beat Hollywood Hogan for the world title on a freaking Monday night.
No, it wasn't like that. No.
It was like that. Yeah, it was. It absolutely was.
It was a wasted opportunity. I mean, that match back in the day.
Hear me out, guys. All right, I'm gonna blow your minds right now. Okay. I'm gonna tell you why this was not a wasted moment. Because the main story with MJF is who is the devil.
Right.
Right? Who is the guy behind the mask? And I'm going to blow your mind right now. What if the man behind the mask was CM Punk.
It's not.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Think about it.
Well,
Think about it.
No, it's not.
No, well, I'll put it this way. The only reason I'll agree with Paul that it's not is he's been backstage at Impact. His boy is now an agent for them over there that also got let go by AEW. I have a feeling that he's going to join TNA. That's just the feeling
remember,
I'm getting.
TNA and AEW has a working agreement. What happens if this is just... I'm gonna tell you. Maybe it might not be CM Punk, but I think whoever's behind the
I'll give you two names.
I'll give you one of them is Jack Perry. Is the one that's floating around a lot.
No.
Oh, God, no.
No, I'll give you two.
But I'm saying it's floating around though.
I'll give you two names. I'll give you two names.
I don't want that.
I'll give you two names. Right? I'll give you two names. Right?
Right.
One person that it could be. This is not my number one person. This is my number two. One person it could be Dolph Ziggler. Right?
Could be, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Here's my number one though. Right? They're targeting Jay White, who's running Bullet Club Gold, right? Who has Juice Robinson, a part of Bullet Club Gold. Well, his former tag team partner, the son of Fit Finlay, David Finlay, is the leader of Bullet Club in Japan. And that build of that person under that mask fits David Finlay down to a T.
That would be, okay. So this is why I said I don't mind the Kenny Omega being a one-off, because I think whoever's behind that mask, the story is gonna blow up, and we're gonna be talking about it for days and months.
But it's wasted on a Saturday. I'm sorry. I mean,
But don't you need ratings though? I mean, everyone talks about how AEW is doing bad in ratings. Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, was one of their best shows. People tune in. Don't you need to have ratings?
Yeah, you do. You do. But,
right? So I mean,
But if the ratings are one-off, it doesn't do like we were saying. It's he's looking for the quick hit instead of for the build up give people a reason to watch week to week, not once a week, not once a month. Is all we're saying. People have to have a reason to want to go back and follow the story.
But I think this new age of wrestling now, I don't think fans nowadays want story. I don't think people like us want it, but I think these new age people, I don't think they want. I don't know.
I think WWE would disagree with that. So would NXT.
I mean, NXT
WWE
at the moment.
story is horrible though. That's not. They're not. They had this. They got the. They.
No, that's because they've been mixing stuff around. So yeah. And me and Spooky were talking about this.
Well, look at this. The people tune in to, I'll say at least Raw, for the Judgment Day storyline, right? That's why they're tuning in, right? That and probably Seth Rollins as the champ, right? Other than that, NXT right now in the business has the best storytelling going. They can tell a good story.
That I agree. I watched NXT the other night and I was like, oh, this is like Attitude Era.
Yes.
This is raunchy.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I might have to start watching Tuesday.
Yeah, they have the right sort of okay, look, put it for what I'm about to say, for example, right? Now, the Bloodline storyline was the biggest storyline going for the last couple of years, right? But people are over it now because I think they've tried to draw it out too long, right? Whereas NXT storylines, they have good length. They've found that perfect spot for length of the storyline. Like the way that they did the story between Dragunov and Carmelo, for example, was a really perfect length, right? Was a great length there. Didn't overstay its welcome kind of thing, and they covered everything that they needed to cover with it. The storyline that they're currently doing, which they can do a little bit of a drawn-out long play, and again, it won't overstay its welcome, but the storyline between Carmelo and Trick, I mean, it's just brilliant storytelling, right? You know, fans are looking at that, was it Carmelo that took out his best friend backstage, you know? And I think it might probably actually come out that way too, which will be phenomenal storytelling. The storytelling that they're doing, which again is another long game storytelling, but again, it's not a story that's going to overstay its welcome with Von Wagner, right? Where he got taken out by Bron Breakker, and now he's, he's doing the vigilantes where he's at the facility, like the hospital facility where he's learned to walk again, etc., etc., etc. That's an interesting story. Like, so they've got interesting stories left, right, center. The other storyline, which was, it only called for a short program, but the storyline between the two Irish lasses, between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyrie, and the history that they built off for the storyline that was there for those, was perfect. Like, Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg, I believe, is the other guy down there that's helping with the story. They are just masterclassing it, right? They're masterclassing it. Triple H with storylines is just masterclass, right? Those three guys right there all know how to tell a story and how to do it. Look, I think the Bloodline story, the only reason it's still going, and me and Paul have discussed this before, is because Roman and Paul Heyman have got a little bit of power when it comes to that story. So I think they kind of might push back against anything with Triple H. Triple H, for example, might have come to him and said, hey, we want LA Knight, we want to capitalise on this momentum, we want him to beat you at Crown Jewel. And they might turn around and go, no, but you look, we need to drag this out to WrestleMania for Cody to finish the story, kind of thing. Right, so they've got a little bit of sway. Don't get me wrong, Roman has definitely earned that sway, like Taker, but I think they've given him and Paul Heyman a bit too much power. Vince did it right, and look, Vince may have been asked, but he did it right. He gave guys like Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, power of their character, but not power of, I need to win this match, or rah, 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 but power of the character. The only other extra little power that he gave Taker, in the end of it, because it was Taker's baby, the whole streak thing and everything, Vince gave Taker the option of when that streak was to end and who it was to be against. He's the one, fans blew up at Vince and said, why'd you have Brock Lesnar? Wasn't Vince's decision. Vince actually came out and said he didn't want Brock Lesnar to end the streak. It was Taker's decision, and there was no change in it. Taker wanted Brock because they'd been great friends for a long time. Taker was always going to watch Brock at UFC. Taker did it from a believability standpoint. This guy's a monster. This guy's going to be believable to take me, the Phenom, down. This is who I want to do it. And that was fair enough, Yeah. And I think he earned that right with the loyalty that he showed Vince once he came into WWF at the time. Because once he hit WWF, he stayed with them. Through the name change, everything, right? Look, AEW, I think, needs to take a page from NXT's book. Look over there. Tony looks too much back in the past. Tony looks to WCW a lot.
Right.
And I don't think
and the great part about that is he makes a lot of the same mistakes they made at WCW.
And Bischoff, on his podcast, constantly points it out. He's been there, done that. Bischoff knows where Tony's fucking up.
All right, look now. This is the second time you guys cursed at me. Okay? Talk about my ECW, and now you're talking about my AEW. You better stop cursing at me.
But look,
take this no more.
I would prefer AEW to take a little bit more page out of ECW's book than WCW's book, because ECW, even to the end, didn't have no trouble with their storyline. It's just the fact that they run out of finance. That's basically it, right? But from a storytelling point of view, they were still whooping WCW's ass. They had better writers there at the end. Once Bischoff was burnt out and Bischoff took his leave and Russo came in, ECW was kicking its ass, WCW's ass, from a storytelling point of view. Because Paul Heyman, and he still is, that's why they utilise Paul Heyman backstage. He's a brilliant mind for storytelling. I would probably never hire the man again to run a company. But I would definitely hire him as a freaking head writer, because the man knows his stuff.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to make a joke now. I'm going to be serious now. I understand that. A piece of potato chip. Okay, I'm sorry. I got I'm
Hey,
so
what's
sorry.
good, brother Dredd?
I forgot. I'm not. So yeah. I'm not gonna be like these Twitter fans that be like, oh, WWE is this or AEW is this. I've been watching wrestling since 87, 88. So I am going to be a realist. Is AEW perfect? No.
No.
Do they have need improvements? Yes. But what I don't like is, we should be grateful, and not us, but the people that complain should be grateful because there was a time where people was upset that WWE was boring and WWE, they was tired and they wanted something different. Well, AEW was different, but then people started complaining, oh, they're too much like WWE. They are only getting former WWE people. It's like, look, I think AEW's biggest problem, and I told my bro this, and it seems like it needs to be fixed, but it's hard to fix because there's not that many veterans left. But losing William Regal really messed up backstage because you have Jerry Lynn already. Jerry Lynn can give you the ECW atmosphere. He can give you the WCW atmosphere.
Yeah.
Then you have Jericho. RVD now. But, Regal, if you notice, when Regal was there, things weren't being leaked. Now the big issue now is somebody in AEW. And, it's funny, we joke about WCW, but I feel like I'm back in the 90s. There's a mole in AEW right now who's leaking storylines to
Meltzer
the Dirt Sheeters.
Yeah.
The Dirt Sheeters. Dirt Sheets. And Jerry Lynn had to come out publicly. He was like, look, you guys complain about us storytelling, but it's hard to do storytelling when somebody in the company is leaking it, a week before we're about to produce it. So, they didn't have those issues when Regal was there.
No.
And, losing Regal was really, really bad. And I really hope that when Sting retires from wrestling, I hope he stays and be a backstage agent.
Yes.
Because AEW needs as many veterans as possible who has been through the drugs, the knowing how to deal with the public.
Yeah.
Of course, at the time, ECW and WCW, there was really no social media. So you can get away with a lot. You can only, but now because social media is in our face, and I'm starting to see this now. It is a gift, but it's also a curse.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
People are showing things from a wrestling standpoint that real wrestling fans already know. Like when someone jumps off, of course it's gonna be padded.
Yeah.
But now because of social media, people show it like, oh my God, wrestling is fake. I mean, yes, we know that. Wrestling is fake, yes. But there's certain times where their bodies and the bumps they take, that's real. The storylines are fake, but their moves sometimes, they do take a
I think the
shot.
better word to use, because I know I've been on that other side on the indie scene. I've wrestled on the indie scene. I wouldn't say it's fake. It's choreographed. It's like a dance.
You're right.
It's like a dance.
It's choreographed.
Because
yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, coming off that top rope and landing someone, coming off the top rope and going through a table.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know my big
that's gonna hurt.
Hell no.
You're gonna get winded. You could end up, deep bruising and stuff like that. It's gonna hurt. Their chops, they don't hold. A lot of them don't hold back on chops. Like they literally snap each other's chest.
Talking about chops.
Yeah.
Did you see the Kenta Kobashi video?
Yeah.
That was that recently.
Yes.
He chopped one of the young guys in New Japan. Yo, he can still chop. Like he's like what, 50?
Yeah.
60 now?
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
But look,
AEW,
I think another thing they need to do is transition Bryan Danielson to the backstage role. He's another one I'd keep. I
agree.
WWE didn't want to let him go because he was writing for WWE and he was getting rave reviews backstage for his writing.
He's great.
Yeah, I would keep him. That if Tony lets him go, that's a big
No,
mistake.
he won't.
You know?
No, he won't, because Tony Khan said publicly already, if God forbid, if anything ever happens to him, and he can't talk or anything, everything goes through Bryan Danielson. He already made it known that Bryan Danielson runs it.
But he can say that, but until he's willing to let like Danielson do some of the writing, because leaks
he
are not
has.
you need leaks are not you need good storytellers.
Yeah.
Well, he has.
Because
always said
WWE every week we see leaks for WWE.
No joke. This is a good way to sum it up. If you took the storytelling and writing from WWE and mixed it with AEW's wrestling, in-ring wrestling, you would have the perfect product.
Yeah.
Right? No joke about it. You would have the perfect... Because I think a lot of the time, excluding NXT, because NXT has phenomenal matches, but I'm just talking about main roster WWE, I think AEW delivers on the in-ring over the main roster of WWE.
Oh, and you know me, that's been one of my biggest complaints about WWE's main roster a lot.
But I still think the main roster WWE has better storytelling than AEW.
Right.
So, you know, that's... And I've said for the longest time, and you know this, Paul, their writing in AEW needs to catch up to their in-ring work. Right? And... look,
but for that to happen, Tony needs to stop being Vince McMahon. Is what needs to happen.
He needs to stop taking on so much. Like, I get it. You're there. You want to make sure you know the pyros and the music and all that's going off well. You want to put together a card. That's all fine. Let others that you've got there that have been in the business a hell of a lot longer than you have, right? That have lived it. Take on some of the workload.
Well, it's like I said, let Tony give him a list. Okay, here's the matches I'd like to see in the next 6 months. Get me from here to there.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me stories that go from here to there.
Storytelling too. Like I don't want to just see, like we're seeing a lot of the time, matches put together and you're just left there like, hey, this is cool. I want to see these two guys. Why are they going at it? You know what I mean?
But
like,
the last pay-per-view where we knew CM Punk all of a sudden wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
A lot of those matches were put together within 2 days before the pay-per-view.
Exactly. Like this match on Collision. This match on Collision was phenomenal. The match itself was phenomenal between MJF and Kenny Omega. I want to know why they were versing each other, because there was no reason. It was a match that was thrown together because it was a dream match, and because the only thing that Tony mentioned was, MJF's on the verge of breaking Kenny's record. Okay, cool. So why not? But you've already got him in a current, like it was mentioned in the article, he's trying to pull off like 10 different freaking sort of stories right now, MJF. He's got the whole Adam Cole thing, and then the thing with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. Then he's got this devil thing going on, and then he's got the thing going on with the Bullet Club. Like now he's got MJF in too many different scenarios. Like, you know, I think all he needs is obviously you got the Adam Cole thing going, but that's more of now it's more turned into an Adam Cole and Roderick Strong thing, really.
And I think, you know, they have a pay-per-view coming up at the end of November, right?
Yeah. And the women's division,
this is when they need to build up those storylines to that pay-per-view.
I don't get what the hell's happened to the women's division. At one point in time, you would have said, he was doing the right thing by the women, and they were being more shown than any other promotion.
Injuries. You know, that's what's happening.
And then now, he barely does anything with it, even with the talent he has got there.
I'm going to say that, Spooky. I'm going to say that he hasn't done anything. I think the problem is with AEW is they're getting bit by the injury bug. Like,
that's true. That's true, too.
When what's her name? Her fine ass. What's her name? Oh, my God. I mean, they're all fine. But, damn, what's her name? The one with the she's from the UK. Oh, my God. What is her name?
Saraya?
No, not Paige. The other one. Who got hurt recently? She was the champion.
Yeah. The one that was with Britt Baker.
What's her name? Oh my God.
Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter, yes. You know, losing her really messed up the story. And then, you know, losing the other girl that was with CM Punk in WWF and she shaved her head,
Serena.
you know,
Deeb.
she got hurt. You know, it's like they got so many injuries, and then freaking Paige got hurt.
Thunder
And
Rosa's
it's like,
out, yeah.
but Rosa still hasn't been able to come back because of her
But
back. So it's like,
where's the big girl? Well,
oh,
the transition girl.
Nyla Rose.
Yeah, where's she?
She hasn't been on, but I think people are, you know, once again, you know, this is why I don't like social media. I think people were getting a little bit upset that, you know, she is going against women, and you know, and people don't like that. They feel like that's abuse. That men shouldn't be beating up on women, but she's not. You know, she's transitioned.
Yeah, I was
she's
gonna
a
say,
female now.
she's gone through the full transition. So
it's like I don't, you know, it's just AEW just has so many issues because it's just.
And I don't know what's happened with because I'm pretty sure she's not injured. Britt Baker right now. I don't know what they.
Well,
she's gone off
she's
to.
not injured, but unfortunately, because Adam Cole broke his ankle in 6 places, and had to have 2 surgeries, she has to care for him now. He can't do anything for himself. She literally has to be. So it's like they are. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, this is an excuse, but I feel like people have to also realize that, you know, injuries to their main people, and it seems like, you know, when they have a story.
You've still got some talent there. I mean, you got Sky Blue there. You've got Willow Nightingale. You've got the blonde chick that's with the House of Black. You've got Tony Storm, who they're building up as this old school movie star.
I love that Tony Storm gimmick.
Yeah.
People don't like it, but people don't understand. That's what they used to do in the 50s and the 40s. Those salad films.
Exactly.
Like,
you still got Hikaru Shida. You got Saraya.
Yeah, so the women's division is, you know, they're doing, you know, I don't. What do people want? Do they want women? I mean, look, how many? I mean, you have a 2-hour show. You have what, 6 matches in a 2-hour show, or is it 7? I mean, how many?
For their pay-per-views, they've been doing 12 to 14 matches.
That is true. I mean, how many women matches do you want?
At least on a pay-per-view, if you're going to do 12 to 14, I want to see 2.
And they do that. They have 2 matches for women, right?
No,
I mean,
the last few pay-per-views, they've had 1, and it's been on the pre-card.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
That's why.
And even then, I think the one before that, I think they may have had 2, but one of them was like dirt short. It was like they barely got in the ring before they got out.
Yeah,
you know.
And like,
but that one that was really short. Didn't someone get injured though? It's just like we go back to the injury bug.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, I think somebody just got injured tonight on WWE. By the way, on Raw. I think one of the women actually got injured just now.
That need to change. I think. Look, I also think production-wise, I think they need to do a little bit better there. I mean, it's good, but I think they can do.
You don't like the production?
No, I think if they could tell better stories, I think the production will catch up.
Exactly. I don't think
the
production's bad. Look, put it this way, I don't think.
Wow, you guys really don't like the story for AEW. I'm shocked.
I love
what
the
story is the problem. What story is the problem?
Look, AEW's strongest point is the wrestling.
Yeah,
plain and simple. It's the
they look like they're really going at it.
Yes.
Whereas when you watch WWE, the main roster, you can tell it's choreographed.
And sometimes they really do go at it by mistake, and they got
AEW.
What's his name? That young kid, Nick Ray, lost his tooth. Yeah, like he literally lost his tooth.
AEW has a very New Japan style, and I love it. You know, that's the reason. Put it this way. I don't tune in every week to AEW for the storytelling because it's just really not there. I tune in because they've got some of the best wrestling around, like actual in-ring wrestling.
Yeah. It's quicker, it's faster.
Yes.
If you watch WWE, you'll see they take a lot of breaks in the ring.
Yes.
Okay, I'm down, you're down. Let's lay here for 30 seconds and breathe hard.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't like. I'll be honest with you. I stopped watching WWE for multiple reasons. One, I can't stand a TV PG. I'm a grown ass man. I can't do that TV PG crap. That's it's too kiddie for me. Two, the storylines are so in the 90s and the 80s. Like it's like, how many times does brothers have to break up and go against each other? How many times do stables have to break up after 2-3 weeks? It's like I don't know. It's like it's like when they do something good. Yeah. And I admit, in the beginning, I was on the edge of my seat with the bloodline. I was like, "Holy crap! This is some real good stuff." I'm not gonna lie, I will give them props. But
it's gone too long now.
They butcher it.
Well,
and
as far as some of the plots repeating themselves, remember, there's always new wrestlers coming in. So what you may have seen 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Put it this way, this would be my opinion. I know it's not going to happen. I'm going to watch Crown Jewel, and I'm going to watch Roman walk in as champ. I'm going to watch him walk out as champ. But if I was them, because the fans have absolutely no interest, the Judgment Day storyline has now overtaken the Bloodline story. That's why people are tuning in when it comes to a group. It's all about the Judgment Day. Roman has had a lovely run. I know that they wanted to keep him going so he could surpass Hogan. No. You've got the opportunity, and I said this on the last time we did this podcast, Paul, didn't I? They have really put themselves in a tough spot here, because you have got the fastest rising star, one of the fastest rising stars in WWE history, who right now I even think has taken over both Cody and Seth in popularity. I'm not taking anything away that Cody's still really popular. Seth's still really popular. People still sing his song.
No, but you know what it is? Now, I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you what I think it is, though. He channels the shit out of Steve Austin, Stone Cold.
I like his LA Knight guy. I'm not going to lie. He really makes me feel like I'm back in the 90s.
Yes.
I'd be honest with you.
I believe.
Even though he doesn't go, hell yeah, he does the
I like
and the way he talks, when he looks at Roman and he looks at Paul, he tells Paul to shut the hell up.
He is a
just
cross.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm back. He is a cross.
I was just going to say, he is the product of The Rock and Stone Cold had a baby together.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree. If they had a baby, you get LA Knight.
Yes.
I'd be honest with you. I understand why. Okay, so look. I know Hulk Hogan's a very controversial character right now.
Yeah.
And I get that you probably will want Roman Reigns to beat his record. My problem with WWE, with the way they're booking, is I don't mind if Roman beats Hogan's record. I don't mind that Roman doesn't wrestle.
Yes.
You know.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier too.
That's what bothers me.
I think title now is become really.
It's a joke.
Insignificant. Yeah. So
it's a joke now.
You've got an opportunity. I reckon they need to change what you got an opportunity this weekend to put over the biggest star in that company right now in LA Knight. That crowd is eating him up. He has all the momentum in the world. I think now would be the perfect time to end Roman's reign, and you capitalize on LA Knight's momentum and popularity.
I'd be honest with you, Spooky. If Triple H has the balls to do this, I would go back to watching WWE.
Yes,
because LA Knight has it.
It'll be a breath of fresh air.
The only thing I can't see is later on down the road, I cannot see Cody facing LA Knight, because you basically would have two faces going off on each other. No, and it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit any storyline at that point.
Actually, did you guys hear the rumor? This was before the buyout, so of course I don't know if things has changed. But when Vince was running things and before they got sold, the rumor was that Gunther was going to win the Rumble and that he would beat Roman for the title.
Yeah, there was. We talked about that. There was.
Yeah.
There's even a rumor going around now that they're going to turn Gunther. Road Dogg's the one who came out and actually said it. And
he can't be a face. I don't want him as a face.
No. They reckon he could be the biggest baby face and face in the company. That's what Road Dogg's words were. I don't know.
No, Gunther has no personality.
No,
he's a boot. I can't see him. No.
No, I can
No.
only see him as a tweener, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
even
too.
then,
yeah.
even
but
then,
not a
even
full
then,
face.
No.
Look, I think he's passable on the microphone, but I still think he's better off with a mouthpiece.
Yeah. I think if they are going to try to make him a tween.
I would love to see a turn here, right? And this is the turn, right? If you had them going against each other and Paul Heyman decided to turn on Roman and side with Gunther, I think would be a really good team up. Paul Heyman becoming Gunther's mouthpiece.
Yep.
Because Roman,
look, he would be another Brock Lesnar. Brock is not really.
I know a lot of Roman Reigns fans, and they're going to hate hearing this. But look, I'm just working on the facts. Roman Reigns is going Hollywood after WrestleMania next year, whether any fan out there likes it or not. He has got his foot in the door. He's been talking to his cousin Dwayne. He wants to go to Hollywood. He's at that age now that he's going to transition into a Rock and John Cena type special attraction. He's not going to be an every week, full-time wrestler. And he doesn't need to. Not after this.
He's already not a.
No, but I'm saying there is nothing left. There's nothing left for him to do. Like this reign that he's currently had, regardless, like as we're all having a laugh and joke about, he's barely defended it. But this is history making. He's already done history making himself. But look, I would prefer them to take the belt off of him and give it to LA Knight. I really would. That title needs to be made significant again. It needs to be made into something again. Because right now, the only world title in WWE that matters, well, the only two that matters, is the NXT world title and Seth's world title.
I don't even think Seth's world title means anything at this point now.
Well, at least he's defending it a lot more. What I mean is that
he is defending it, but I just feel like people know the reason why they even made that belt. They made that belt because Roman wasn't going to wrestle no more, and they can't have no belt, not on your TV. So they just made a new one.
I will say this. I think they missed an opportunity too. You built Shinsuke Nakamura up once again, and this heel character's working for him. I think by, the second or the third opportunity that he got, because they had a series match, they should have gave him the win.
Yeah, I don't know why they crap on him, and then they expect to work with Paul Noah.
I sit back now and go, what was the point in building him up? Yeah, having versed Seth 3 times, he should have won it at least by the third time. And now he's back lingering in the freaking mid card again.
That's that stupid WWE booking. That's what that's.
And no, but I'm going to put it down to this: they have never, ever, 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 to my knowledge, known what to do with a Japanese wrestler, and they've always not treated them right.
No, yeah, you're right. Japanese wrestling and Spanish wrestlers, they do. Yeah. You see what they did to Super Crazy Psychosis?
Yeah,
had them as freaking lawnmower.
We're not Mexican. We're not Mexican. We're Mexican.
Like what the man?
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
Him and Psychosis. 3 of the biggest Lucha Libre wrestlers, and you got them coming out as freaking...
Put it this way, the only 2 that they've done really well with when it comes to, Mexican Spanish wrestlers is Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. That's it. Other than that, every other Spanish and Mexican wrestler.
And to be honest with you, I think that was because
look at what they did with freaking Ultimo Dragon, bro.
And don't talk about it. Spooky, I will leave right now.
That's
horrible,
bro.
Talk about
I know, man. It was
disrespecting the legend.
Oh, but did you see? Actually, I'm glad I brought him up. Did you see, bro? He's coming into AEW for a match.
Yep.
Ultimo Dragon.
Wait, is that true?
Yes.
Is he really gonna come?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, granted, he's at the tail end of his career, obviously, but it's great.
No, he can still wrestle.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen him in Noah?
Oh yeah.
Recently?
Yes.
Oh my God! No, he can. Look, I
saw him and
Japanese wrestlers.
The best match I've seen
their bodies.
recently with him, and it happened a few months back, was him and Kenta, man, tore down the building. Him and Kenta, bro. The originator,
Yo,
as I'll
Japanese
say to
wrestlers,
people
man.
out there, the originator of the go to sleep, and CM Punk admittedly will admit these days that he did steal it from Kenta. Kenta's the originator. But look, I think you know, AEW's got some areas to fix. I hope they do, because if they don't, as I said, if they don't, the only thing I would love to see, right, if things start going south in this resurgence with TNA, I would love to see Tony and AEW and TNA merge, right? So you still have the match card brilliance of Tony Khan and having really great wrestling, but you would get the good writers from freaking Impact, from TNA.
Right. I personally don't want them to merge. Because I think everyone needs competition, but I do want them to continue to have this open working agreement.
Well, you know
really
what?
Makes me
Yeah,
feel
exactly.
like,
Go over to Anthem.
it makes me feel like the 90 days.
I would say this
Japan.
right now. If I was Tony Khan, I would go over to Anthem and I would ask for permission, because TNA doesn't have Impact on a as far as, no, they don't, on a day that AEW is doing a show. Say, look, on the days that you're not doing Impact, can we please steal your president, Scott D'Amore, so he could come over and write storylines for us? Because Scott D'Amore is one of the head writers over there, and he is freaking
he's
brilliant.
good.
He is
I like
brilliant, man. Tony Khan needs himself a Scott D'Amore.
I think we have that. It's just that.
Well, I think
I wish Tony Khan hadn't of done the damage in the relationship, because he had him on AEW, right, with Eric Bischoff, because I think Bischoff.
No, fuck Eric Bischoff.
No. If you're only having him as a writer, which, see, Vince utilized him as a writer for Raw. He was the head writer of Raw at one point. Paul Heyman at the same time as head writer of SmackDown. Yep. If he's just a writer, I'm cool with it, because
Bischoff is a great writer. Bischoff is a great storyteller.
Yes.
I don't like Bischoff.
Doesn't matter
if you don't like. Doesn't matter if you don't like him. Doesn't matter if you don't like him. He's still a good writer.
As long as you're not giving him any more power, as long as you're not making him an executive of this or that, he's just strictly a writer in the writer's room, things would improve writing wise. That's all
he tells a story. He tells a great story. He tells a great story.
Yeah, that's all I want Bischoff for. That's the reason why WCW was so good. The reason why it went downhill is he needed a break, and it was during that break, because he didn't have a break from the minute it turned into NWA turned into WCW, right? And he was writing, he was working his way up through the executive rank, he was also doing commentating, right? He never had a break until that NWO storyline started to wind down, and he needed it, because he never took a break, right?
And then what broke it was Vince the asshole Russo. Him, I want nowhere near a writer's room.
They thought that he was the mastermind behind the Attitude Era, which it really wasn't. Vince just had the reins on him, you know. He was one of Vince's dogs, and the only reason it worked over there is because Vince reined him in. Vince even would admittedly said, this dude came with some of the most ridiculous freaking ideas, and I had to shut him down, right? But they didn't believe all that. They thought that Vince Russo was the freaking mastermind of the Attitude Era, and they ran off of that. And they brought him in because Bischoff went away. Bischoff still was under contract, but he went away. He needed a break. That was the demise of WCW. I don't put that on Eric Bischoff one bit.
Because Russo's the one who gave Hogan all the power too.
Yes, the only thing that Bischoff will admit fault for, and at least unlike Russo, he admits his faults, is yes. He signed some of those wrestlers to some really ridiculous contracts, and yes, he did give some of the top talent too much free rein, and he admits that. But where he was brilliant was story. The reason why from, say, midway through 1996 to the end of 99, the WCW storylines were freaking amazing was because of Eric Bischoff. That's why I'm like, Tony, you're an idiot for pissing him off and destroying that relationship, because you could have had a good writer there. Vince McMahon knew he was a good writer. Hence why when he was writing for Raw was, and that was a lot through the Ruthless Aggression era and that, Raw was freaking awesome. And that was Bischoff, because Paul Heyman had SmackDown. And SmackDown was good at the time too because of Paul Heyman. But Eric Bischoff, I would hire as a writer and a writer alone. That's it. Even if I didn't like him as a human being or as a person, right, I would put that aside and go, look, I need some good writing here. I'll take him on as a writer. If he came to me and go, I want a bit more. No, you're not getting any more power, buddy. You're the head writer. That's as far as you go. You don't leave that damn writer's room, bro.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I think Tony may have the writers in the back, but he's got to let go of his. He's got to stop doing what Vince does and saying, I want to see this and I want to see it this week.
Yes.
Let your
writers let your writers write the storylines, and you've got to stop rushing things. Like sometimes storytelling needs some time to brew, needs some length to it in that, and the storytelling will play into these fantastic matches that yes you can put together. I know he must go to sleep at night and he goes, oh my god, I want to have this dream match Omega versus MJF. Oh my god, let's go. Right, that's all well and good, but let's do a 3-month build to that match.
Yeah.
Let's
the one exception I would make is if you have brought in 2 of the older wrestlers and they're about to retire and they want to go at each other with no storyline, fine, but let's do it at a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's fine.
But let's do it
but I'm telling you now, go before we move to the next topic, if they do like what Dion wants to see happen, if you're going to go out and Endeavor's willing to go in with you and you can get Taker for Sting's last match, please at least do a 2-month build-up, please. For the love of God, do a 2-month build. You need a build-up for that. The Phenom versus the Icon, I know that in itself sells the match itself, but I would still like to see a build. Like the two for 2 months playing fucking mind games with each other. You know what I mean? The microphone work between the two, oh my God, man, would just be off the charts. They really, if they're going to do it that way. Heck, I'd even do the same thing if it's going to be Edge. I want to see a 2-month little build, those two going back and forth on the microphone. Right? They can even go back as far as to tell the story of Edge being at the crowd at WCW events, watching his idol Sting, and before becoming Edge in WWF, when he was going through the WCW power plant, right, with AJ Styles and a few others, Sting was one of the people that were helping train him. So there is a lot of history between Sting and Adam Copeland there. You could make a hell of a story out of. Right.
By the way, totally off the subject, kind of, but I just thought I just remembered this and I wanted to mention it. I watched last week when Charlotte Blair came out. She is starting to channel her father.
Oh yeah.
When she comes out with the feather robe and stuff and the hands raised, and you're like, shit, she looks like Ric Flair, and not visually, but the way she carries herself.
She does look a lot like her dad. I used to joke all the time. I used to joke all the time with some of the some boys, and I said, could you imagine being Andrade and just say you had a real hard night on the drink the night before and you rolled over the next morning? Hey, Rick! Oh, goddamn, Rick! What are you doing about the? Oh, sorry, baby. Sorry, baby.
But it dawned on me when she was coming out, she carried herself like the Nature Boy used to.
Yes. No, she is, and I actually think she's going to outdo his reigns. I think she will get more than 16 championship reigns. She's not far off as it is now.
Right.
But moving on to the next topic, which will be a quick topic before we get into our crown jewel predictions. Fans, I've been seeing last week or two, are screaming out for 2K and WWE to make Bray Wyatt the cover star of 2K24. What are your thoughts, gentlemen, on that? I'm all for it, if you ask me. I'm all for it.
I don't want it.
You don't?
I don't want it. And I don't... So, it's funny. I was talking to my brother about this. And Bray Wyatt was one of my favorite wrestlers. I enjoyed him. I love when wrestlers take over their own character and make it theirs.
Yeah.
And he did it. My problem is that his career is so short. I wouldn't do a showcase mainly on him. If we do have him as a showcase, you have to also give us another showcase that will make it fuller, because he didn't wrestle that much. And if you give us 2 showcases, I'm cool with it. But if you're only gonna give us 1 showcase, I don't like that. And another thing is, a lot of the wrestlers that he fought are not in WWE no more. So how are you gonna do that? Are you gonna, is 2K and TKO who not TKO, well, whoever owns WWE now, are they gonna go talk to AEW? Be like, hey, can we, with your permission, can we have them? Because a lot of his main story are people in AEW. So I mean, I don't, I'm still mad at 2K when they had, the Asian Mike Tyson in the game for career mode, and that I don't that pissed me off so much. So they have to really do this correctly, and they have to get the permission if they're gonna do it. And if AEW does it, I don't think AEW is gonna charge them for that, because they, a lot of them work with Bray Wyatt. Then yes, do it. But you have to also give us another showcase. You can't just give us just Bray Wyatt, because his career was way too short. And a lot of the matches that he was in, you booked him as a loser. So are we gonna do what we did this year with John Cena, where we did the matches and you have to win? I don't mind that, because this year's showcase, all the matches that we have with Cena was matches that he lost,
Well,
and
the only
the object was,
and I was going to say
huh?
the only other thing that they'll, if they're going to do it too, is they will have to have basically all faces of Bray Wyatt, similar to Mick Foley. They will have to start it back in his Nexus days when he was Husky Harris, all right?
Yeah, like, do you really? I personally don't want to play as Husky Harris.
No, but if you're going to do it that with,
right, if you're gonna do it, you're right.
you would have
You
to start back there, and then go into the Wyatt family, where he was doing that kind of Robert De Niro, Cape Fear-esque.
Yeah, and I would want
himself.
all the versions of the Wyatt family. The one with Bryan Danielson, the one with Randy Orton, the one with I just don't.
I think there's enough. I think there's enough matchups there. I mean, you got to remember, he went against Danielson. He went against, which you would have to get permission from AEW for that. But
that's what I'm saying. A lot of the people,
but Orton's still in WWE.
Career,
John Cena's still in WWE. Who else did he go with? Seth Rollins. He had a really big feud with him. He's still in WWE.
Okay.
When he was the Fiend.
Oh yeah, that was more current. I didn't like the Fiend was okay.
No, but I mean, you'd have to. You'd have to still have the. You could do the whole him and LA Knight. I know that was meant to go longer, but that you could still have that as there. He had a feud with Ray, who's still in WWE. So there is still quite a few in WWE.
And you could still do a featured thing with him, not make him the main driving point, but do a feature with him. I mean, and
then you could do. I'm pretty sure he did have a match with Taker. I'm pretty sure he did.
No, he didn't have it with Taker. Well, what happened with Taker was, remember, Taker came into the ring and he was gonna choke him LA Knight, and then Bray Wyatt came in and then Taker whispered in his ear. That was the only interaction.
I'm just trying to think though, when he was before he turned into the whole Fiend character and that and did the 5-5. I'm trying to remember if he did take on Taker at all, even if it was.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, WrestleMania 31.
Oh, he did.
He did?
Yes. Yep.
He did. Holy crap!
Yes. So there you go. You got a lot of matches there. You do have a lot of matches there that he had with some very significant people. I don't know if he ever crossed paths with Brock Lesnar. I can't remember if he did or not. But
what was the story with him and Taker then? Because I admit
that was when he was still kind of doing the whole Robert De Niro kind of version.
Oh, he was still that version. I love that version.
Yeah. So look, I think there's enough matches there to do it, and I'd like to see it because of how popular he was. It would be a nice respecting kind of thing, like I mean, I would have loved to seen them take advantage of this back in the day with Owen Hart, but they never did. They just had a little blurb.
And this may sound weird, but you know what they could do with the one they were planning on doing, the storyline they were planning on doing, do that in a what could have been thing.
Yes. Where he was meant to come back and take on Cody.
Right.
That was the plan. But look, I'm all for it. I think it would be really, really great recognition because I've said many, 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 many times the brilliance of Wyndham Rotunda, right? After he'd finished wrestling, I could have easily seen him being a head writer in the writing room for any wrestling. He's brilliant from a character writing standpoint and just storytelling standpoint that they gave him range. He was like ahead of his time, maybe even before his time. Like the man, like Taker, everybody said how brilliant of a mind he was. That's why we lost a really, really, you know, not just a great guy and a great human being, but a really big person in the wrestling industry. Because he was well on his way to going down as one of the biggest stars to ever step in that ring. Like, he really was. He was starting to build that legacy.
I agree. I was really hoping Bray would have left WWE to go to AEW because I felt like he was being underutilized in WWE towards the end.
And Tony would have just gave him full reign in AEW.
Yeah, I guess I just... You're right. I mean, I guess I just didn't... Even though he had a lot of matches, I just didn't like how they booked him to... He lost almost all his matches. So I guess that... I guess I felt some type of way.
I will say I'm thankful for it is at least they gave him, I think two world title reigns he had. I was like, thank God. Because there was a few points where I'm like, they're never going to give this man his props. They're never going to give him the chance.
I feel like he deserved more, but, you know.
Yeah. And I think he would have gotten it too. But what do you think, Paul? Do you think making him the face of the next game, you down for that?
I think so. I think they, like I said, I think they could find a way. You could, the whole story doesn't have to be about him, but you can work him in there if you don't have enough to, you know, permissions or whatever to, but you can say, okay, like I said, you could do the dream match between him and Cody, what could have been, and you could do that whole storyline because I'm sure they had at least the basics written out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they could extend on what should have been a more extended story between him and LA Knight as well.
Yeah. The only problem I see is WWE has a tendency to forget about their dead, and that sounds so crude to say, but
it's look what they did back in the bloody day before Martha cut him off.
No, you're right. WWE doesn't give a shit about the dead.
Owen Hart died, and I think it was either WWF Attitude game or the Warzone game. One of those two games back then, and they had this little tiny rest in peace little blurb thing for it, and that was it.
Yep, they didn't mention it on any show. They didn't mention it on any shows after the event. No,
it's surprising. He never wrestled. Yeah. He never stepped a foot, obviously, quite evidently, in AEW. And AEW has done more for his legacy than WWE, the company. Yeah.
Well, you know why though, right? I don't want to derail the chat, but you know why though.
Yeah. Well, I know one reason is he actually did have a significant history in New Japan, and that's played a lot into it. But Tony was obviously, as we know, was a huge fan.
But I mean, do you know why WWE doesn't really talk about Owen Hart?
It's because I do. Yeah, Martha sued the pants off him, and she doesn't want them to have any connection, because she still blames them for his death.
Did y'all see the Dark Side of the Ring episode of Owen Hart?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
WWE killed him. That harness was not meant for a human being.
No, he didn't. I
know.
Here's the other thing.
So you know what?
I was watching that pay-per-view when it happened.
That's why Martha.
Me too. Oh my God, that was so. I forgot how old I was. I think I was.
No, but here's the thing, because I know everything, because Owen Hart is right at the top of my list as my all-time favorite wrestler. put it this way. I personally think in-ring ability-wise, he was tenfold better than his brother. And I love Bret Hart, but Owen Hart was doing things that wrestlers back in those times were not doing. Like, you go and have a look at his New Japan stuff, where he wasn't just a technical wrestler, flipping around and jumping. Oh, my God, he was like a mixture of different styles, right?
You know what I think with Owen also? I think Owen had a better charisma than Bret.
He did.
Bret was like a stone-faced, no show emotion. But he was a great wrestler. But Owen, like you said, he was. Not a lot of people. Spooky. I like, this is why I messaged you, man. Not a lot of people know about his New Japan days. I give you kudos for that now. Not a lot of people know about that. Yeah. And his matches with Liger and he was doing things, and he brought that over, and
he should have been, put it this way, out of the two brothers, he should have been the main eventer because he had it all. He had it all, man. And look, I know all about that pay-per-view and his death. That's why I'm with Martha. They did kill him. He told Vince for two things. One, he didn't want to do the blue blazer gimmick because he didn't want to do a stupid comedic gimmick. Like, he was fine being Owen Hart, He also did not like heights. He told Vince, I don't want to do this. Like, this might be Shawn Michaels' thing to come in on a bloody flying fox kind of thing, whatever, or Sting getting up. But I'm not them. I don't want to do that. And he got made to do it, right? And then the disgusting way that Vince made all the rest of the wrestlers continue that pay-per-view and continue the pay-per-view after, as well as JR and King on commentary after what happened. That was disgusting. All to appease his sponsors. I didn't want to lose money from my sponsors. Well, F your sponsors, bro. F your sponsors. Like, you're a juggernaut as it is. You would have made your money back, right? Even giving people back.
And I think the sponsors will understand. The man died. Like, I remember Stone Cold was talking recently. He was like, his match with Taker, there was blood still on the mat. It was indented.
No, I told Spooky because I went back and watched the match about a couple months ago, and I said, you can see the blood on the corner of the mat.
Yeah. I mean, fans were horrified themselves. I would have given the fans the money back, right, because it was still obviously early in the pay-per-view. I would have told the sponsors, sorry, we can't keep going. Like, show some freaking heart, man.
And what they did was the fans were not aware. They were told that he's in back and he's getting looked at or he's going to the hospital. The only ones who knew were the talent and, of course, the announcers. They knew the truth.
Yeah, and that's
they had to work through it. Yeah.
They did announce it later in the pay-per-view. JR.
Yeah, much later, yeah.
But it was disgusting, and that's something I still frown upon Vince upon. So I don't blame Martha whatsoever. I'm just glad, though, as an Owen Hart fan, that she's allowed Tony and AEW to use his likeness. We can see they've shown footage of his New Japan days. They were able to use him in a video game again, and the last video game he was in was the Legends of Wrestling video games. As an huge Owen Hart fan, man, it was so great. And then to have the cups now
to play as Owen Hart again.
Yeah.
As an in-game wrestler, not a creative wrestler.
Exactly. And the cups.
What I didn't like, because I still haven't unlocked him, is I haven't been able to unlock him. They should have. I wish they would. I wish they wouldn't have made it so I had to work for him.
No,
I know. It's a little hard, but
it makes a lot of sense for him.
For that game, I got it.
It's no, but I reckon doing that, making him the hardest to unlock, and the way you got to go about unlock. I mean, that's just shows you how good of a worker Owen Hart was. I thought it played in really.
No, nicely. I get that. I just wish there was like a code you could get dispensed at some point just to.
But also I love the fact that they created the tournament with the cups and the special belts.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a nice touch as well. They let Martha take center stage with his kids as well. And it's just good. It's even good to see Martha again. I mean, she was so significant in his career and turned up to a lot of the events and that. And, wrestling, she just hated it for so long, after his death. And it sucked as a fan. I got it from a personal standpoint. You know, that's his wife, that's his kid, and they wanted to keep everything and all of his, you know, identity to himself. And that's why her and Brett butted heads for so long. And her and Brett got in. I've know all that history too. They got in some verbal style shit because Brett, like her, he blamed him too, and he already had a hatred there for the way things went between him and Vince. You know, before he went to WCW, and that just made it worse. And all the reason why him and Martha went back and forth is Brett knew how much Owen loved wrestling. Right. And he didn't want his brother's legacy just to die out and be forgotten, and he wanted him to be remembered. But what Brett couldn't wrap his head around is because, as we know, Brett ended up sorting shit out with Vince in the end, enough to, you know, come back and do some things, obviously. And it got worse between him and Martha after that because he's like, oh, no, let him do it. Like, no, that's the only that's the only area I didn't agree. Now, Brett, you wanted to get through to Martha before AEW was a thing. What he would have been better off saying is, okay, I get it. You blame Vince and that company for your husband's death, for my brother's death. No worries. But we got to let his legacy, we got to let his fans, got to let it live on. Let New Japan...
Right, which is also, I think, the reason that Brett went back is because Brett loves wrestling. He loves everything about it.
But
just
what he
like
would have been
brother
better off doing with Martha and with his brother's legacy is turn around to Martha and not say, let Vince, you know, they'll do it right, let him put him in the Hall of Fame. No. Go to Martha, and you would have been better off saying, let New Japan induct him into their Hall of Fame. Let New Japan remember him. Put his legacy out there. Because AEW wasn't a thing at this point.
Right.
That's what I would have done. And then they could have come. Because I don't even think today they still get along. Martha Hart and Brett. I do not think they get along still. Because Brett tried to push. And as I said, I got what Brett was trying to say, but it was just the wrong company. And Martha was, and she never will let WWE ever have access to anything to do with Owen. And I don't blame her. I really don't.
No, Brett was coming at it from the wrestling legacy side.
Yes.
You know?
Which, as I said, and I agreed with that. I just think you needed to sort of come to an agreement and go, okay, right, you don't want them doing it. Okay, how about New Japan? Because that's where another part of his, you know, played a significant part in his career. And he had some phenomenal matches with Liger and the like, Muda and others. Like, let them. But now, you know, you got AEW and we're able to remember him now. And I think it's fantastic. Man, we hadn't seen merchandise for Owen Hart for freaking years, decades, and we finally can get it again via AEW.
Well, yeah, because that's another thing that WWE does is as soon as somebody leaves or dies, they pull all the merch. You know, they
exactly.
It's like they never existed.
Well, look at Edge. You can't get nothing at Edge's stuff and
no, nope.
But moving right along to the final topic, boys. We've got Crown Jewel this upcoming weekend. So we're going to go through and give our predictions as we do, match for match. All right.
Oh, so, nothing's going to change at the end. No. No, I'm kidding.
We'll start.
It's going to be the same thing.
All right, so we're going to start with the United States Championship match between Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul. Who you got, Paul?
Logan
Mysterio, because now Logan Paul ain't gonna win shit because that would mean he'd have to be a working wrestler. He doesn't want to be a working wrestler.
But remember, WWE doesn't do working.
Hey, before Dion goes, I'm going to go against it, and I'll say because it's not the World Heavyweight Championship or Roman's Championship, and it's a mid-card championship, I do actually think WWE may actually give it to him, and I think Logan Paul beats Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. And what, is he going to hold it for a week like they did the tag team belts a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I see Logan Paul winning it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then him losing
and losing it on Tuesday. Yeah, whatever.
Here we go.
Oh, losing it on Tuesday. Yeah, I see that.
I see
that's how they book it.
I see Logan Paul winning it from Rey Mysterio and then dropping it to Ricochet.
Yeah,
I can
Because
see that.
that program
Yeah,
is
I can
still
see that, yep.
sort of ongoing in the little background there. And since he's been back, he's called Ricochet's girl into the ring a few times. So I think that feud will spark back up, and I think the United States Championship will come in between it there. All right, so next match we will go with Cody Rhodes against Damian Priest. I think this one is a pretty easy one to predict. I think Rhodes will come out on top.
Yeah, Cody's gonna.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be a
Yeah.
squash match. I hate to say, but that's gonna be a squash.
Yeah. Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair. Who you got?
So I think Evil Sky's gonna win by interference because Jay Cargo's gonna cost Bianca the match.
Oh, interesting. I think
I'd go with that. Yeah, if it ends up being a straight up match, I think Bianca could take it. But yeah,
I think Bianca Belair's gonna win it, and I think she's gonna turn.
I think
heel.
she do. I think she do.
I think she's gonna win it, and I think she's gonna turn heel in the process.
Really? Wow.
Well, hey, didn't we talk
Hey,
about it a few months
yeah,
back?
we've talked
There
about
was
it.
the
She would make an awesome heel. She would make an awesome
She was
heel.
a heel in
Yeah.
NXT.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was rumors, which we've already got one part of that rumor that's come true when we talked about it months ago, that both her and the Street Profits were due for a heel run. They've turned heel. She's yet to turn heel, but I think we will see it very, very soon. So I think she wins and she turns heel. And I think Bailey.
Okay,
actually,
so
I actually think.
So
Bailey,
I was gonna say, so who runs up with her to help her, because you know
Bailey.
that
not
Bailey?
on her, but not on Bianca's side. I think Bailey tries to interfere on Io's behalf, but totally
the
messes-
JD Madonna move.
Oh, you think Bailey's gonna cost the match?
Yeah, totally messes up. Yep, and yeah, I think that's what'll happen there because look, I'd love to see your prediction too, Dion, but I do think they're going to go the NXT route with. She's already shown up a lot on NXT, like sort of figuratively there. I think she might have an NXT run before she comes up, even if it's a short NXT run.
Right.
Because she was there watching that Becky Lynch-Lyra match, and I have a feeling that they want to give her maybe an NXT Women's Championship run, Jade, before bringing her up. And I think that, look, I've said the whole time, I think that's the route to go, because I still think that she needs some work in the ring. I won't say she's badly green, but she's still green. I can put it this way. I'm going to apply. This is going to be funny. She's not as green as Chelsea Green.
Yeah, no.
Because that woman is horrible.
I'll be honest with you. I really wish that she had some more time with Bryan Danielson.
Yes. But
I'm a little bit upset that, she left so quick.
Cody
not quick,
is
but-
helping her out. Cody's helping her out. I just think, as I said, I would prefer before. I know they want to try. You can feel it. They want to try and rush her up to the main role. I would love to see her have some time in NXT. I don't think she's too green, but I think she just needs that little extra time before you make her a major player in the women's division on the main roster. Because look, she already has the look, right? And she can talk a bit on the microphone. It's another area that she needs to work on still. But she was getting there in AEW. I thought she was getting better because once her mouthpiece would actually let her talk. She put it this way, she's better on the microphone than Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. So she's not that bad. But wrestling ability wise, I just think she needs a little bit more work, and that's not a knock on her. I think she's got a lot of talent there. I just don't want her being a significant part of the main roster yet until that wrestling's up to par. And I think, as I said, an NXT run will help her out and be very, very beneficial. I would take the slower approach with her. I know you're loving it. You got a good name and fans are clamoring for it and everything. But as I said, even if it's a 6-month run in NXT, that would be great because being so close to the Performance Center, she could constantly be in there. Cody could be there helping her. Shawn Michaels could be in there helping her. You could even have Natalia there helping her as well. Maybe Becky. I know Becky comes down and helps some younger talents down there as well. You know, get her all the help that she needs. You know, because it's only going to be beneficial to her. And she's like a sponge. She, Brian Danielson said it. Cody said it. She absorbs all this information, and she's really takes notes. She wants to be better. She wants to get, so that's a great attitude to have. And it'd be interesting to see which approach they do go. Next match, John Cena, after 2,000 plus days of no wins, well, no singles wins, taking on Solo Sikoa. Who we got?
I think for storyline purposes, they may give it to Cena for storyline purposes.
Yeah, I don't think Sikoa needs the victory. I think you can still have Cena beat him, but keep Solo looking strong.
Yep.
Yeah, I think storyline, I think it might be Cena. But maybe with the two guys from MLW who's Samoan who got actually released, maybe they might interfere and help Solo win.
Hey, talking about that? I know it's off topic because you brought MLW up, and I watched that too. Did you see Alex Hammerstone asked for his release and got denied?
Yeah, he asked for his release, and then the tag team champions, Lance Anoa'i. I'm sorry,
Lance Anoa'i in that
last name.
Anoa'i, yeah.
Yeah, him and his partner they got released also. So if they, if you want to refresh the bloodline, which I think this would be a good signing, maybe they will come and help Solo.
I'll tell you who they needed from MLW to do that. They needed the werewolf, the big boy.
Who?
From MLW. He's also an Anoa'i. They based on his name. But
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that. Oh, damn. That family is humongous.
It's huge, bro. It's huge, man.
Oh my God! Wow, yeah. I forgot he was. Yeah. But he's happy there. He's not.
Yeah, he's not. He is. And
he's happy there.
I'm just disappointed for Alexander Hammerstone because he wants out, and they're not really doing anything with him, and he's been kind of depressed and a little bit down since they.
Yeah, I was shocked at that.
Off him, and they denied it. His request to release him. I'm like, well, if you're not really going to do anything, well, why are you holding him to a contract? You could just release him and, I don't know. But the relationship there's frayed, so when he gets the opportunity to get the hell out of
Let me just say real quick that what I'm seeing on TV is even tougher than anything Mick Foley ever did. Somebody just took a backsplash on a thing of candy corn. Candy corn is evil.
Candy corn?
Damn.
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 WWE, man. I can't. Man. Candy corn.
I want to see a match with frickin' with jelly babies and
yeah, that's right.
Gummy bears. All right. So then next, where are we at on the card here? Oh, next, interesting fatal 5-way match for the Women's World Championship. Rhea defending against Nia, Shayna, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez.
Rhea takes it. Anytime they do these kind of goofy matches, it's going to end up being Rhea.
Yeah, Rhea's going to win. I think they're going to try to do her like they're doing with Roman.
Yeah, I think she comes out on top. I'm not the biggest fan of her, but I think she comes out on top.
No, but I think anytime they do these goofball matches, it ends up being...
I still think either Raquel or Nia is going to be the one to take her down eventually at some point anyway. But
oh, God, no. Not Nyla. Raquel, yes.
Raquel would make more sense. Raquel beat her in NXT.
Nia, what's her name? Nia Storm? No, Nia Jax. Nia Jax, yeah.
Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Who's also a part of the Anoa'i and the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, she's there.
If Roman wants her as champ, they'll do it.
By the way, I was going to say in the solo match, don't be surprised if the Bloodline doesn't try to interfere in that shit. So.
Then we've got Seth freaking Rollins against Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm going against the grain, and I think McIntyre beats him. And turns
if WWE wants to keep him, they better give it to Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, and I think I know they've been doing a real slow burn, and he's sort of at that tweener stage, but I think he goes full blown heel.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, because it's about time he goes back to the dark side. Drew Mack, he had a nice run, a long run as the baby face. As I said, he's been doing a lot of more tweener work, sort of leaning towards heel lately, where I'm not coming out to help anybody unless it concerns me. I think, look, Seth's had a really good run with the title, and I love Seth Rollins. He's one of my favourite wrestlers, but and so is Drew Mack. But I think Drew Mack, it's been a minute since he's had any championship, and I think a heel Drew McIntyre, I think we need it. We need it, and I think we need a change with the World Championship. A heel.
Okay, so let me just throw this out there, because they seem to be wanting to give all the belts to Rhea and that group. When is Senior Money in the Bank going to cash in that?
He ain't. Well, he is, but he's going to be a John Cena. He's going to lose when he goes to cash it in. I can tell you that right now. He won't. They're not going to have it. Damian Priest is not main event material at all. He's just not.
I didn't say he was, but they could do it. It could be, because, like I said, just last week.
Don't get me wrong. They could do
the quickest belt turnaround in the world was last week. So
they could do a Dolph Ziggler with him, have him win it at the pay-per-view, and have him drop it at the Raw or after the pay-per-view.
Right.
Because Dolph Ziggler had that happen to him. But look, I don't think you even waste time with that. I think you have him cash in, and he fails to cash in. He's a good mid-carder, high mid-carder, but I don't want to see him as a world champion, that's for sure. Look, they had the opportunity to do that with a better heel than him, and a more main event ready caliber guy in Shinsuke, and they dropped the ball then.
Yeah, I know. I'm always thinking he's held on to that briefcase for quite a while.
Apparently because it's a seller, like the briefcase that they got on WWE.com, they want to keep him holding it for a bit longer because they keep selling the briefcase for merchandise wise. But no, I think Drew Mack comes out top. And then, of course, we've got the main event. Now, I know who I want to win the match, but I don't think he's going to win the match. But LA Knight taking on Roman Reigns. Are we all in agreement that Roman's likely to walk out as the champ?
Likely, yes. Would we all like to see the other thing?
Yeah.
Most likely. Yeah. But what's the what's the one thing I've always asked for the last few times that Roman has gone up? I want to see Paul Heyman take a shot to the face. I'm just throwing it out there.
Reality, Roman's going to win tomorrow on Saturday.
Yeah.
What we really want, LA Knight's going to win. It will win, but
I'm telling you now, if I know it's in Saudi, and that's a big stadium in hang on, let me get it right.
Yeah.
They go to two different places. Is it Ryder that they're going to? Yeah, Ryder.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
So they're going to the Muhammad Abdul Arena in Ryder. That place, I know they've only got a bit of a roof around it because they've got the hole in the centre, right? That part of the roof's going to come flying off if LA Knight wins. I'm telling you now. If LA Knight wins, they literally will not have any type of roof on that, that arena, man.
I'm going to reiterate, I've been loving LA Knight's mic work with this. The way he keeps Paul Heyman in his place. Paul Heyman tries to crawl out of the ring. He's like, nope, stop, wait right there.
Because Roman's never really, even now, he's never really been good on the mic, right? And
right.
Every time he actually does speak on the mic, I kind of yawn. LA Knight has owned both him and Heyman. LA Knight has killed them both on that microphone. We're talking LA Knight. We're talking.
And Heyman plays it well. Heyman plays it well.
On The Rock, Chris Jericho, CM Punk levels of being great on the microphone, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. If LA Knight wins, I would be happy, but I will also be upset because, they had a chance of letting Sammy win in Toronto, and they blew it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I kind of want LA Knight to win, but it's like, if he wins,
they could do one of their chicken shit things too, where, okay, you won, but because of something, you don't get the belt.
No,
you don't get the belt.
Oh, God, no.
No. Thank you for bringing that. That's a possibility. Maybe we do see LA Knight win, but in the shape that it goes down, he doesn't win the championship.
Right.
That is a possibility. That is a possibility. Like,
If that happens, I would never watch that part. I would never watch WWE.
Dion is done.
I don't watch it
Dion's
now, but
done,
I
bro.
would definitely
He's out
watch
here.
if that happens.
Yeah. I mean, like, no. Look.
Because that would bring up a whole nother level of. Yeah, you still have the belt, but you've been defeated.
Put it this way.
You've been defeated by me.
Because they're going to want to... Look, I think... Look, we know facts that Roman... Because they're dead set on Roman carrying the belt to WrestleMania next year. So he beat Hogan's record and erases Hogan's record from the history book. They're going to do a screw job here where it still makes LA Knight look strong so they don't lose that momentum on him. That's because that would be the one thing I would walk away pissed off. If you destroy what LA Knight's built and the popular and the momentum like that these are a bunch of idiots. Like, so that they'll find a way for this match to go, the finish of the match to go down where regardless of Roman walking out with the belt, LA Knight still looks strong. Like you said, Paul, both Solo and Jimmy come down and cost him. And they're going to go with LA Knight. It took 3 people to, beat LA Knight. Well, technically 4 if you want to call Paul Heyman jumping up and being a distraction. So it took 4 people to beat him.
Yep. Oh, and then there's the other side too. That LA Knight does have some people that come out and take his back as well, if necessary. You could end up with a brawl. You could end up with a brawl out there.
Could you imagine it, bro? I'm just thinking that. Could you imagine if, like, so you got halfway through the match or whatever, and Jimmy, Paul's waving down Jimmy and something, they come running down, right? And so it all looks like, oh, here we go, LA Knight's going to get beat down, and all of a sudden you hear the glass shatter. Dun 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 dun. Stone Cold comes riding down, bro. Stone Cold stuns everything.
That happened.
Well, the other thing you
DM me,
the other thing you
I
get.
will turn it on immediately.
Yeah, Stone Cold comes down. He's Stone Cold stunners everyone. He's got his normal shirt on, and he takes his normal shirt off. He's got the ref shirt on. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight's your new champ.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And the other thing that could happen, because they've been kind of setting it up, is if one Uso brother shows up, the other one might too.
Oh yeah, Jay. Well, Jay's not even on this card, so Jay could easily get involved in that match.
Right.
Although I also probably do see him getting involved in the Cody match because we all know Judgment Day, Dom and Finn Balor will probably get involved. So,
but remember, just last week they had to tear the Usos apart. Remember?
Yeah.
Right at the end of the match.
They are building. They're doing that slow build because they want their match at next year's WrestleMania. So. Yeah, they're going to go back and forth over the next several months. But
yeah, I could see them both showing up to try to interfere with that match one way or the other.
All in all, this Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel pay-per-view, it's got a nice card. And it's the biggest card I've seen in a while from WWE. They got 7 matches so far. We're used to seeing 4 or 5, but they got 7.
Yeah.
But top to bottom, it's a pretty strong pay-per-view. There's not a match on this card that is
Hey guys, I got some breaking news. A match has been added for Crown Jewel on Saturday.
Oh no! Yeah.
What? Sami Zayn against JD Madubo on the kickoff show.
Oh nice!
Oh yeah, they did mention that tonight. Yes.
Yeah. So there's 8, one on the kickoff show, and then the 7 of the main card. So again, even that to kick off on the 8, all 8 matches. None of them are toilet break matches. They're all matches that are going to make you tune in.
Damn, 12 o'clock it comes on?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's...
Yeah, for me it's going to be the main show starts at 1 o'clock. Yeah, so.
But no, it's a really good card, and it's been a little minute because NXT's had some stellar cards, but the last couple of pay-per-views from WWE, especially their last one, me and Paul yawned at the card.
Yeah.
There is nothing.
Yeah. That last one was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
They went up against AEW's pay, and we were like, oh, AEW's definitely got the better card here. There's no doubt about it. But no, this is a really good card that's been put together, top to bottom. I think they will walk away with at least a 4 out of 5 stars for the card, all up. And it should be a great night of wrestling. I again, probably apart from the US Championship, most of the championships probably won't change hands. The WWE Women's Championship between that sort of could go either way. With that one, that really could go either way. The US Championship, I think, does change hands, but the Universal Championship definitely ain't changing hands. Rhea's keeping her title, and
the only thing I'm not happy. Well, this is outside of the show. Is apparently this will be Roman's last match until next year.
Oh yeah, apparently yeah, which is great.
Oh, it's not apparent. It's happening.
Well, unless they get their shit together, because
how did you get the remaining days up on to break Hogan's record? Well, I sat at home for 600 days.
yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
So
WWE oh God.
So
that'll put his total for the wrestling for the year at 10. By the way, 10.
He has only wrestled 10 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they weren't all for the belt because he did the tag team thing.
Yeah, and it's also said, like, because we know he won't be at Survivor Series. Brock Lesnar is also not going to be at Survivor Series either.
I was wondering about that. Where has Brock been? They're just like giving him some time off.
No, Brock is. He said in the interview I read, there was it was a rumor that Brock said this was his last stint for a while.
Yeah.
He's done because he didn't like that Vince sold WWE.
No.
Triple H was not really a Brock guy. That was really Vince's guy.
Yeah.
So Brock will only remember that Raw that Brock walked out because Vince wasn't there.
Yeah.
And they made him whatever happened. He did it, but yeah, Brock ain't gonna come back no time soon.
Nah.
Especially since Vince got demoted again.
Yeah. Thank God.
And Triple H is in full control.
Thank God, though.
Yeah. You know, that's too bad for Brock then. I mean, seriously, that's,
No, I think the next time we'll either not see him for a very significant time, or we may see him in a specialty match that gets put together for WrestleMania next year, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Or they'll just say they'll just say if you're not going to wrestle, we're going to release you. I mean,
Well, he's only on a part-time contract anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's on a part-time contract anyway, so he's not.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know if his dates are completely fulfilled yet, but they've got nothing for him anyway right now, so it makes sense to me. There's no real person to, that would have been a match I would have loved to see before he completely rode off into the sunset. If Bray didn't pass away, I would have loved to see those two go at it. Bray and Brock. And have Bray. But because Brock, in this last run, Brock had been more, before any other time he's been more willing to do the job, I would have loved to see him do the job and put Bray
And Brock said, didn't Brock say probably that he really liked Bray's work?
Yes.
And he wanted to work with Bray? So yeah, that would have been...
I could have seen him putting Bray over, and that would have gave Bray a significant
especially since Taker and Brock is close, and Taker already Taker vouched for Bray. Yeah, I could definitely saw Brock pushing Bray over, making him a bigger star. I definitely could have saw that.
Exactly, man. Exactly, and I mean, at the end of the day, Brock's going to go down in history as the man to beat the streak. So I mean, that's a pretty significant thing to end your wrestling career on, as it is. Like, especially in the pro wrestling, there's not. I mean, winning world championships and everything's great, but like, there's not a bigger thing, and that's a big deal,
Right. And the way they ended that match, it ended so well. I mean,
exactly.
It did.
So that's a significant thing to rest your hat on. You are the only man to end the Undertaker's streak. That's a big. I think that's more significant than winning one of the world titles. If you ask me, like
it is, because the way they made that WrestleMania streak for Taker, that was like
Yeah.
Like that was a big deal. Like
There's a lot of us that watched it from the get-go, right? There was a lot of us, you boys included, as well as myself, that watched that from the get-go of when that started,
Yep.
thinking that it was never going to end. That I guarantee most of us at one point in time thought, you know what, he's going to retire with that streak intact.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I
Hell,
think that was
we
why.
dealt with the Giant Gonzalez days when he fought him at
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
And the thing is because I think most wrestling fans thought that, and that's why it was brilliant. They got the reaction they wanted. They did get that legitimate shock because nobody saw that coming. Nobody. I don't know.
Nobody.
If anybody says that they
Chiefs
did,
didn't see it. Like no one had that.
If anybody says that they did, they're lying. Because I'm telling you now, I didn't even see it coming, and you know, I know my wrestling and know my history and everything, and yeah, I didn't see it coming. You know, regardless that even before the match, I knew how close him and Brock were, and you know, he's been close with a lot of the guys that he first at WrestleMania, but I didn't see it coming. But, you know, as I said, Taker was the one who got to decide, and he made his choice. And, you know, whether there's fans out there that liked it or not, that was his choice. And I see it, you know, I take it and look at it from the story standpoint. It was believable. You know, it was believable. A guy of Brock's size manhandling Taker and, you know, ending the streak, to me, is believable. It'd be more believable than Rey Mysterio ending it, that's for sure. You know.
Well, that's look, like last Friday they had, I don't even remember what the match was, but it was some little dude, one of the school ones, you know, one of the college ones versus a really big dude. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to last about 5 seconds. It lasted about 5 seconds. You know, it's like,
oh, damn.
Yeah.
But no, that's all we got for you tonight, folks. I want to thank, of course, everybody in the chat that has stayed with us, from the rocket one herself, Trinity. Always great to see you, love. Tim from across the pond. Dreadpool with his mythical beard. Back from the Dead was in here. Jay, the graphic god, he was up in here earlier as well. And of course, all the lurkers. I hope you've enjoyed the show, enjoyed the conversation. And also, a big thank you to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dion, for jumping on with us tonight, brother. It was.
I know. I said I wasn't going to talk, but I lied. You know, when you talk about wrestling,
well, I'm glad.
I start talking. So
I'm glad, brother. I'm glad. No, it's been an absolute pleasure, bro, having you on, and you know, getting a different insight, and someone else again who can go back as far as me and Paul. You know, back to those territory days, even, you know, which was still happening in the 80s there.
Yeah, man. Damn, we old guys. What's going on here?
I know, man.
I want to go back to
when you're a wrestling fan.
CW.
Yeah,
I'm a WWE fan. I'm TVPG.
Yeah.
You can ask Spooky. I still slip and call it WWF.
Yeah. Well,
I still call it WWF.
World Wildlife Fund.
I hate them so much. Look, I love animals.
Damn those panda bears. Damn those panda bears,
those
baby.
Those bastards ruined wrestling, okay? They did that on purpose. Talking about, oh, we don't want to be associated with wrestling. Nobody even thought about you people. And then they took the name over, and now we got this stupid World Wrestling Entertainment crap. Don't get me started.
No.
We're about to end the show. I don't want to keep you on.
All right, well, did you want to let the fine folks, Dion, know where they can find you, sir?
Yes, I am on Twitter as Mr. Too Soon. I am on YouTube as Mr. Too Soon. I am on Xbox as Mr. Too Soon, but with zeros if you guys want to add me to play. I'm on PlayStation as Mr. Too Soon. Basically, you know, I'm everywhere. Fun, friendly, love my wrestling, love my video games.
There you go, folks. Nice and easy. And I do believe, well, I'm giving him the record. I do believe he has the record for playing as most every single frickin' team in a sports game. I love it. No.
Yeah,
he covered
I've
every
been
team.
sitting here. You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Spooky. I've been sitting at this damn 2K screen for the last 2 hours trying to pick a team. Yes, I said I was gonna start 2K, and I've been sitting here. I don't know what team I'm gonna be. So, yep, I am. What's the word? Not inconsistent. What's the word? Indecisive. I am an indecisive person when it comes to sports teams and franchise.
I just love it how you give them all an equal chance, especially like when I'm seeing your MLB clips. I'm like, he has played with damn near every single team. No one can say that you don't give every team their fair shake.
I know, right?
Oh man, I look. The teams are there to play with, so it's good to. I think that you change it up, and they all have a different feel. They all have a different lineup. So it's good. You enjoying it? All right,
Yeah,
Paul.
I gotta stop that because I gotta stop that.
All right, Paul. You want to let the fine folks know where they can find you, brother?
Sure, you can find me on the application formerly known as Twitter. It's Cerebral Paul 1. You can find me Twitch at Cerebral Paul. You can find me Tuesdays on the Xbox Ambassador channel. Tomorrow for Halloween, I will be playing Dead Space, the remake, remaster, whatever it is. And then on Mondays, you find me right here at the Pop-Up Powerbomb. On Wednesdays, sometimes you find me with Spooky. And back this Wednesday, though, I won't be with Spooky. We are interviewing the original voice of Laura Croft from the first time they gave her a voice in the computer game.
Nice.
So we'll be posting that soon after that. And of course, Thursday for GQ TV, Friday, Wasted with Wise. Saturday, I'll be watching wrestling, but I'm also helping facilitate an Xbox Ambassador stream. I believe they're playing Party Animals for multiple hours. So.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
That's dope.
I see.
Yep.
Trin says in the chat, and that's the bottom line, because Stone
Cold said so. That's right.
That's right.
But yeah, every time I hear Knight start going all like flashback. It's just Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he says
we're live?
When he says
yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Holy crap. Hey. Damn, okay.
But no, every time LA Knight says it, he literally sounds like Stone Cold when he says, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He really does. Yeah.
But, of course, you can find me at SpookyTBG on the app formerly known as Twitter as well. You can find me at SpookyTBG on the Xbox app, even though I'm a PC gamer. I can still communicate and play games with everybody on the Xbox. And you can find me here every Monday evening, every Wednesday evening on the 4GQ TV channel. Shout out to Carlo and the gang. Mondays, of course, here with Paul, and hopefully we'll have some more guests in the future with Pop-Up Powerbomb. And, of course, Wednesdays with the Backlog Bastards, of course, with Chuck and Paul and... I almost forgot his name. Damn. Resident Gamer Zero, Ryan, and we've got some interesting guests coming up there as well. We've got Sergeant Steve joining us sometime in the next few weeks. We've also got Mr. Bushido coming on to join us, and Retri from what does he go on Twitter's or X there? Game Pass Daily, I think he calls himself.
Holy crap. Oh, sorry.
We're going to have him on there as well. But yeah, like we're doing well here. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, me and Ryan, Resident Gamer Zero, and Chuck have been in some discussions. We're looking to start a third podcast that's going to be touching on a variety of things, from social events happening in the world, whether that's, the wars going on, or something to do with, economics, the climate, and as such, as well as sports. Basically a current affairs news style podcast where we'll be talking about a variety of things, and that those two boys, if they want to talk politics, they can talk politics to their heart's content as well. That would be interesting too if they've got different views. I'll just sit back and laugh.
Wow. This could get scary. Okay.
I know, but I get to sit here and just have a good old giggle. But no, look, as long as I'm all for political talk, as long as it's kept respectful.
Right.
Because it's like anything, sports, like wrestling, like video games. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, like everybody's got an asshole.
Yep.
But no, look out for that in the future. We're just in the planning stages at the moment, and but I've been looking at starting a third podcast, and Ryan came with that suggestion. So I think that's again something different, just like the wrestling pod. But until next time, which will be Wednesday evening with the Backlog Bastards, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day or evening, wherever you may be in this fine world. And enjoy wrestling, enjoy video games. And we will see you all next time, everybody.